Gerald, you been out in the sun?
Sun in Florida, brother.
Shout out to everybody. How's everyone doing? We are live. Again, we are live. Dynasty Mirror Search for Huru. We got my brother, my big brother, on with us today, Fitzgerald Stevens.
It's been a
I
little
told
while
you,
since we've been on, ain't it, Prince? We
yeah,
skipped last week, right?
yeah, it's been a couple weeks. Been a couple weeks.
Okay.
Fitzgerald,
I'm the first
you
person to
know,
like this stream.
I appreciate it, Fitzgerald. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you. Fitzgerald looks like he's got a little tan going over there,
yeah,
getting ready
man.
for the
Yeah,
summertime.
man. Yeah, yeah. I'm not up north anymore. So the sun actually shines bright down here, which is a good thing, man. Good thing. Well, y'all got to get you down, man. I don't know why I got to keep pleading and begging with you to come down.
I'm gonna come. I'm gonna come to Tampa. I'm gonna come down
Haven't
there.
I
I'm gonna
made this
come.
a consistent effort over the years to come up to Atlanta to see you? Over the
Mhm.
years.
Fitzgerald, I'll be 40 in 2 days.
Yeah, I know that, man. Happy birthday.
Appreciate it.
No, how you feel?
I feel great. So Fitzgerald, you were my age roughly when I met you for the first time.
I was your age 17 years ago.
Okay, so you were a little bit over 40 then when I first met. I met you in '07.
Oh, you was a kid, man.
So that's 15. So that's 15 years ago. So you was 40. Yeah. So I was a kid. You were roughly my age when I first met you,
Yeah,
Fitzgerald.
yeah, you were a kid, ambitious kid, driven. I like that. You
Yeah.
know, I respect the people who go after, especially young people, man. That just delights me. That just does something to me to see a young, serious person, trying to make a name for themselves and just getting out there putting that work out there, man. I just love that. My on my channel, my number one demographic is 15 to 24.
Because they need to hear the
And
jewels
my
that you're
less
giving.
demographic is people my age limit.
Because they're probably in their ways or set in their ways already.
Can't be set in your ways. Your way has brought you to a place that you don't want right now. It ain't your time to get set in another way.
Hmm. So, guys, hit that like button. Please share. Also, subscribe. Again, hit the like button, share, subscribe. Tour, we are still rolling to Sierra Leone in 4 days, y'all. 4 days will be in Sierra Leone. I cannot wait. I am looking forward to it. It is so awesome. Taking some beautiful people with me. We're going to have a good time. People will be getting their citizenship and all that good stuff. So, we are definitely looking forward to it. If you want to roll, you leave in 4 days. But hey, if you're like, listen, I want to roll. I just want to get away. I just want to get away. No problem. Go to Danfo, 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 Danfo Africa. Again, Danfo.Africa, and you can roll with us. You can roll with us. Let's see, any other announcements? No, I think that's all the announcements. So, today's topic, when it comes to relationships and marriage, I love to have Brother Fitzgerald on. And today's topic is Black marriage essential to saving or building the Black community. Is it? Is it essential, Fitzgerald? Or I'm hearing people say we need to divest. You know, get divest outside the community and all this other stuff. And some people are like, listen, I'm not getting married. I don't think the risk is worth the reward. Is the risk worth the reward of marriage in order to save and build the Black community? Guys, hit the like button again. Please hit the like button. We'll open up the lines in about 30 minutes. But Brother Fitzgerald, go ahead and introduce yourself. And listen, guys, make sure you go to Fitzgerald's page. Find ways to win. Find ways to win. Go there and subscribe to Fitzgerald's page. Yeah, somebody in the chat room. Go Dogs. There we go. How about them dogs? Go Dogs. Go Dogs. Listen, we beat Alabama this year. Oh, hold on. In fact, Fitzgerald, look at how's this helmet look, Fitzgerald? You like that helmet? You like that helmet, Fitzgerald? You like that G? You like that helmet? Oh, I got something else for you too, Fitzgerald. Got something else for you too. You like my Herschel Walker? You like that, Herschel Walker?
Yeah, I like that. I like Herschel.
You like Herschel? Hey, I know you do. I know you do. I know you do. You guys have never had a Herschel Walker at Alabama. Never had. You guys passed up on Bo Jackson. How you
Yeah,
guys passed up on Bo Jackson?
yeah, we did. Remind us. No, we never had a Herschel Walker, but we have had two Heisman Trophy winning running backs, but they wasn't Herschel Walker,
Right. Arbo Jackson.
Mark Ingram, and Trent Richardson.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Arbo Jackson. But it's okay. But guys, again, hit the like button for the algorithm. So again, do me a favor, hit the like button. I don't ask much from you guys. Hit the like button. People join the chat. Link will be in the chat room in about 30 minutes, so you can join if you want to add to the conversation. But for sure, go ahead, take it away.
To answer to your question, yeah, I believe it. I mean, black people produce black people. I do believe in the black family unit. However, I would be amiss if I stated that there seemingly to be the problems of the black male-female relationship has been magnified to such a point that it's almost appears to be counterproductive. I, in terms, happen to like black women. That's my preference. What now? Will family? Yes, I believe in family. I don't believe in. I believe in a traditional family. One man, one woman. I don't like the out of wedlock birth. Maybe it's my bent. Maybe it's my thing. But I definitely believe in a black family. My personal preference is the black woman. Would I be open to other options? Absolutely, but that's my personal.
Let me if I can interject real quick for sure. You said why would you be open to other options? Like what?
Because I deal with the character of the woman instead of the color of the skin. The character is what have to matter. If I find the right fit, and she happens to be of another race, another persuasion, but she is a great fit for me. Woman that I can build with, a woman who is built for me as I'm built for her, that we can really make a major impact, that we can really raise a family and contribute positive to the upbringing of those children as well as society. Yes, I mean, I am for that. As far as with what I have learned right now, but nevertheless, my preference is the black woman. No, so I don't. That doesn't mean that I just dismiss other races of women. I think that's counterproductive in this day and age that we live in.
Okay. Why is it counterproductive?
Because sometimes a particular woman who happens to look like our pigment may not be the right fit for me. Now, I disdain putting all people in the same category. You got to deal with individual. Marriage is an individual thing. You pick, you choose who you want. With me, I have primarily dealt with black women in my relationships. Primarily there was some others, but at at the stage that I've arrived in right now, it has to be the right chemistry. It has to be the right fit. If that woman is black, hey, the more the merrier. But if that woman is Asian, that woman is Caucasian, that woman is Eurasian, that woman is another bent. I would be foolish if I find the characteristics in her to just dismiss it because of her skin color. As many of you guys heard my story, it's not really, skin color, not much of a big deal to me, man. My great grandfather, Bass Stevens, is a full white guy, was a full white man. So for me to dismiss that, to be to dismiss who I am, but the surname Stevens, it came from him. But nevertheless, that is an individual choice. I don't want my views to be any of your views. It's just what I've learned from being two ticks from 60. So I learned it's the character, and I am finding a good woman, a wise, prudent, feminine woman who knows how, who's willing to follow the lead of a man is an extraordinary rare thing. So if it's that rare, when you find it, I suggest you really take a strong interest in, in locking that person down. Do I have anything against interracial marriages? No, no. If that works for those two couples, great. But once again, this is just my preference. But character, character and heart wins out over color with me. I try to color sometimes, in certain situations, but all my situations that just didn't work. No, I was talking to my first cousin, and Mr. Joel Stevens, owner of Stevens Trucking, and in Montgomery, and from a man who's known me all my life, as we've known each other all our lives. He made an interesting observation with me, and I had to really, really just seriously think about it. I've been thinking about it almost 2 days ago. He said, Fitzgerald, you don't know what a good woman is. You never had one. I'm like, dang.
Fitzgerald, so in the chat room, we talk about this. Sorry to interrupt. In the chat room, because we talk about this offline a lot in regards to the Bible. Even the Bible says a good woman is hard to find, and we
Yeah, the
talk about
Bible said that. You and I had that discussion. I mean, Solomon wrote that about 5,000 years ago. So he said a prudent woman who can find, and that was about 5,000 years ago. So that indeed is a rare jewel. So much rare that if whatever persuasion of whatever color, should I say color, that I find that in, and we're mixing. That's what I'm going after now at the second half of my life, because I certainly don't want to keep running the roadblocks. But there some. Let me say this. There are some absolutely outstanding Black women who walk around on God's earth, but they're very few. What do you mean outstanding? Women who are built for marriage, women who hate feminism as much as I do. I know you want to be strong, and I know you want to be independent. I know you want to, you want to do a lot of things. I know even some of y'all want to beat a man or but you're not men. You're not men, and you can't roll like a man does. I mean, that physiology, mentally, you just can't do it. I would say I hate to burst your bubble, but I'm glad to burst your bubble. We're not equals. We are partners. One has the strength that the other one needs, and when one gets out the role, there's disasters is going to come. A woman is a man's, a wife rather, is a man's help meet. In other words, she gets on point with that vision that man has. She is her power is in her femininity and her submissiveness. Well, you're going to submit to you're going to want to submit to a man who's loving you, who's taking care of the house, who's providing, who's taking care of responsibility, taking care of you, being raising up the children to be great men and women, not beggars, not planners. You're going to want to submit to that if you of the right mind. But when you get out of pocket and and the man is belittled, or the man is made to feel like his opinion don't count in front of children, and people like that, you do what you feel like in accordance with your role, disasters is going to assure. And I will not never deal with a woman like that again. I don't care how fine you are. Fine women, I mean, but that ass people get the idea, man. I used to be one of these cats. People get the idea that fine women are like a rare. Oh man, she's curvilicious. She speaks well. The voice, but man, she just, oh boy, her body is banging. That's a dime a dozen. That hell, maybe a nickel a dozen. There are billions of more. The billions of fine women out there. What you want is a good woman out there. But Miss Ivy Dream's right. Most good women are married already, because wise men have already locked them down, especially if they come in their proximity. No, that is an absolute true statement. But am I going to throw it all out because of some experiences I experienced, some experience that that a couple other men has experienced, especially with the red pill community. No, I believe marriage is an individual choice, and I don't believe in interfering in any man or woman's marriage. I don't. I mean, if they want to get counsel and advice, that's well. But what goes on in that marriage is between that man and his wife. You know how they choose to live it. If they choose to live it in a way that I wouldn't, that's their business. I have no right to interfere with that, nor do you. But you know that trying to figure out you got a good woman is not while you're married, you're already too late. Trying to figure out you got a good man while you're married, you're too late. You need to learn how to vet people before they get to that level. I mean, as a husband, that's a hell of a responsibility. I think more the responsibility is on the husband than the wife. I mean, he's the one, if that man's not out there taking care of his family, society judges men hard. Other men judge men hard. That man is out there being out of pocket, or things are going on, that he's allowing that's wrecking his family unit. He's judged, harsh as things like that. A man, but when I was growing up, and my grandfather, he said back in the day, a black man was known what he could do, what he could produce, not for his mind, not for his mind. Well, it's a different day now. That man is still known for what he can produce, how well he takes care of his family, as he put it, but also is known for his wife, but for his mind. I think the right man, to you, ladies and gentlemen, I mean ladies especially, the right man, he's going to empower you. He's not going to stagnate. He's gonna make you better. He's going to teach you. He's going to nurture and protect you. And you don't have that, he's disqualified for being a husband. He's not going to run around there, run around and bring other women into place. I know we have guys on here, especially who with polygamous marriage. But I don't prescribe to that. I just don't believe in that. But if you're looking to build the unit, one man, one woman, and raise children under that umbrella, I think that's the best environment for a two-parent home to raise children in. Now, no disdain upon our single mothers. Many people say, well, hey, we'll stay away from single mothers. I can understand that, but you don't know the situations. Was the husband killed in a car accident, war, some illness that took him away?
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this for Joe. Sorry to interject. And guys, please hit the like button. Again, do me a favor. When you come into the chat, please hit the like button. If you're not subscribed, hit subscribe and hit the subscription bell, but hit the like button. In what instances should you not want to be with a single mother? Because I just know too many men who've married single mothers and it ended up it seemed like it was a thankless job and they ended up losing out.
You really trying to get controversy out of me, huh?
No, I mean, this is conversations we gotta have.
What benefit is for a man to raise another man's child, to put all his resources in that, but him not getting nothing from that? No, I don't prescribe that. I don't prescribe that. It depended on the circumstances. That shows poor lack of judgment with that woman, or a willingness not to build with that man. I mean, you can be important enough to have a child with, but not important enough to build with. Something's off with that. Something's very much off with that and stuff like that. So that tells me a couple things about you. Number one, you can't stick to task. Number two, you have poor decision making. No, number three, you're not willing to get online and with the man to build in the first place. Do you know how much thing it takes for a man to go in there and raise a child that's not his bloodline, not his heritage. Every man wants their own, regardless of those of us who don't have children or those, everyone wants their own. Well, if that's the case, wouldn't it behoove you as someone who's bringing an already ready-made family to this man to be literally one of the best in all the departments that I just stated? Why bring that to a man who is willing to take you on? Why bring that? I mean, shoot, I was a step parent before. Never do it again. Absolutely never do it again. Actually, I broke one of my rules. Which I stated. I don't want a woman to have children by me and me only, and nor do I want to be married to a woman who's divorced. So I broke one of my major rules, and it didn't work out well for me. Do some relationships work out? Yeah, very few. That's not the majority. Imagine now, put yourself in a man's place. A lot of times you're not allowed to discipline a child because that child knows that you're not the father. And they know you can't discipline them, but you can feed them, you can clothe them, and you can do everything else like that. But a lot of women don't even like you to discipline their children by another father. Well, hell, if that's the case, what you doing? You need to be with the father. If that's the case, you're going to have most of the time those children are going to have a longing for their natural father. You're not my dad. You can't tell me what to do. And you know what? They're right. They're right. But you can pay for everything. No, you get paid. You get paid for everything. I had a little difficult situation when I was in that situation and stuff, and meaning that married to a woman who already had children. Son and I got along great. To him, I'm still dad. Love him. He's awesome. The daughter, and I when we became a teenager, stuff started going off the rails. Being a man who comes from a family of all boys, and my mom was different thinking because she dealt with boys and who are now men, and I was trying to get through it logically, doing what I was saying. She had a couple of difficult, and I said, why are you doing this? I mean, I've taken care, loved you as my own. I provided for you. I provided for your brother, your mom. I mean, I've done everything. She said this to me, and the word stings this very day. I didn't ask you to do it. I didn't ask you to do it.
You got it. Hold on. You got it. Hold on, Fitzgerald. You got it.
She told me
that
on my patio in McDonough, Georgia, and in a 3,000 square foot brand new house that I had put together, and laid everything out, said, I didn't ask you to do it. And she was right. Well, of course, it totally changed the projection of our relationship, which is to this day on the same thing. We don't talk at all, but and that was a waste of my dang time and resources to be in that, and I never forgot that. And sometimes when it had to get tough and discipline had to be come in, sometimes it can cause a crash with the woman and stuff. So why in the hell would a man be in it? Why would a man sign up for that? If you're gonna be a wife and you're gonna put yourself in a position, you need to put yourself in the best position. Now, some of you got ladies out there chasing a career. Nothing's wrong with that, but your youth is in your early 20s. Oh, by the way, when you start going after 27th, you're really in a dangerous situation. Wives are scooped up early, ladies and gentlemen. Now, am I against the career? No, absolutely not. That's your choice, but everything has a price to pay. Do I want to keep them barefoot and pregnant? No, man, I don't. I'm looking for a partner, and that we can build both up. But you have to understand, when shit hits the fan, it's on demand. It's on demand. That's what society looks at. That's what society look for. It's on demand. I firmly believe, and I said this, to mine. I said, you got my last name. I don't have yours. Meaning that stuff comes down, it's on me to do now. So why in the world, with all the stuff I have to fight as a man, I'm not even going to say black man, all the stuff I got to get up there and fight and guilt through and stuff like that. Why in the hell am I going to come out there and fight with a woman? Why am I going to fight with a stepkid? I don't believe that. Now, can you have problems with your own children? Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen the cases as far as with that, but as men, we want our own legacy. We want our own heritage, and to take care of another man's child, especially if he's there, and especially if he's able to take. How is that productive to you? And that woman's always going to love that man. He gave her a child. She's always going to have a very, very special bond with him, even if you are married to her. Don't forget that. She's always going to have a special bond to that. She has that child. When his birthday come up, she's going to remember. Look at that child. She's looking at him. She's going to remember whether she tell you that or not. You get my and you know, people like, oh man, Fitzgerald, man, you are, you know, who hurt you? No, that's child's talk. That's child's talk. I'm talking from deadline experience. Every freaking thing I get on here and talk to you guys about is from experience. I live this stuff. That's why I can do it without notes. That's why I can flow with it, because I've been there. And I don't see any positive benefit, any positive benefits if certain rules and engagements in marriage and relationships are not followed. I don't see any positive benefits to getting married. Nor am I one of those guys go pump and dump as we hear all that foolishness. You know, I don't do that, because I still care about people. That woman's a human being just like me. Who am I just to go out there and use a person? I wouldn't want to feel like that, you know. And at this juncture in my life, man, that's that's not the way to deal with. Would I want a relationship? Yeah, but only on the terms that I explained. And I would have to know. I don't believe in living with you first. You know, I don't believe in a lot of things that traditionally pass over, that pass over for popular opinion. I just don't believe in that. You know, so but if you're gonna build a strong family, you, sir, have got to be prepared on how to be a husband, and you have got to marry a woman who has already been prepared to be a wife. Not one of the hot girl summer and the party things and you know, get my drink on, and I got all these guys best friends and all this stuff, and you know, and I'm sitting around and I got a separate group of crowd for my husband, and I got, you know, a separate group of crowd for my wife and stuff. You asking for disaster. You still a playboy with a wedding band on. You know, and the ring, and then people say, well, you know, if you want it, put a ring on it. Beyonce made that. Put a ring on it. Ring don't make you a husband or a wife. You know, it far from it. You know, far from it. So are you?
Fitzgerald, sorry to interject. What you was going to lead? Finish your statement. What you going to lead? Guys, hit the like button again. Please hit that like button as you come to the chat room again. Please hit the like button.
Doing too much, Mr. Fitzgerald. Clearly, you had a bad experience. Not all do. Just saying, don't predict that energy on the others.
But Fitzgerald, let me interject real quick. And we're gonna address that. What do the numbers say? See, when people like doing too much, you had a bad experience. Just saying, don't perpetuate that energy onto others. What do the numbers say, Fitzgerald? Like, I mean, we got to deal with.
Well, the numbers paint a very bleak story. If we're going to listen to facts, not feelings, you know, the facts should win over feelings every single time. That is that. I think you're doing too much for that comment. But no, I'm not bitter one iota. I'm experienced. Not one thing have you ever heard me sit up there. I write off marriage. I believe in pump and dump. I believe you get out there and just keep us stable. I don't say all that foolishness because it's demonic to me. Hell, I don't believe in that. You know, am I open for love and a relationship? Yes, but with the right ones. I know what I don't want now. Okay, and I know what I want. And plus, I have an extremely wise father who told me the lesson. He said, when him and my mother divorced, got separated. He said, you know, man, I had some good women, son. I had some real good women up, but I was so dang burned from the situation. I never let him in. So he taught me that. And, you know, so I'm not against that. I mean, you know, so I'm not against finding the right one for Fitzgerald. Now, what's the right one? She has to be really into me, probably into me more than I'm into her. She has to be loyalty and betrayal. I cannot stand. I will not tolerate. Not even once. Okay. She has to be able to follow my lead. I know where the hell I'm going. You know, I got a good plan for us. I got to get a good thing. Will I take her ideas to make it better? Absolutely. And I submit to you, man. Here's going to be a tight one. One of the best environments as far as for your wife is not to be working for anyone but you. So you damn sure better put something together. You know, I believe, you know, there's a guest on here that I like and frequently contributes. It's Brandon. I believe Brandon will 100% back me up on that statement. You have to you put your woman in a position where she ain't going out the house, but you are so income students. You got a hustle going in, and you got something going. Even you making the main income that you can put her in the work to building the business of the family. I believe it's anti-marriage to send your wife out there to the marketplace. Oh, well, if she want to work, okay. I'm not gonna take that from her. But you know, if she's a surgeon, attorney, yeah. But there's a danger in that, ladies and gentlemen. There's a danger in that because you most of your adulterous booty calls take place in the work environment. Do you know that some people spend more time with your woman than you do? You know, like as I stated earlier in the stream, I never heard the term work husband until I moved to Atlanta, or work wives. And a lady I was working with, a nice lady, you know, she considered me her work husband because we gelled so much together. Well, hell, I thought it was kind of funny at the moment. But we did click. You know, we clicked in that professional work environment. Nothing ever took place. Didn't allow that. Not even a handhold or a kiss on the cheek. You know, I was married then. I moved in a different thing. But if you're sending your wife out into that environment where she's constantly around men and she's constantly surrounded by people giving her comments, you ain't gonna. They see her at her best every time. They don't see, you know, like sometimes, you know, she has quirks and maybe a jealous streak, or maybe an anger streak, or maybe she like to withhold the draws at her convenience to force your hand to do some stuff and all that kind of bull. But they don't see that. They see her always time. She's always in her makeup. She's always looking good and stuff like that. And so sometimes they're complimenting them more than you. But you're putting in an environment where you're asking for a disaster to come. Now, well, Fitzgerald, we need two incomes. Simple way for that. Don't get married if you do. That's on you, man. Don't get married if you do. Figure out a way to side hustle, figure out a way to earn some things like that where your woman can be home, primarily working in your hustle and primarily raise your children in the way that you want to go. Now, some women who if they say women don't want to submit to that, that's not your wife. You already got your answer. If they buck on that, that's not wife material. That's girl thing material. That's because if they buck on that, the other thing's gonna buck right too. And so you got to be taking care of business. And I submit to you, if she's working in your business, you pay her like you would an employee. Don't say like, hey, I'm providing this phone. You pay her, but so man, you got to put yourself in a position. And a lot of men simply cannot do that. Don't think that. Ebony Repat, two home income household is better than one. Yeah. But it all depends what a second income term. I'm saying with the man, you put something together where your wife can work in your hustle, being an online company, being something that she doesn't have to go in that anti-marriage environment. Something that you can control the bent of how your children are raised. Something that she gets an affirmation to you. Am I saying don't get out there and socialize for and network? No, I'm not saying that at all, woman. But you got to count the cost, and this is a big deal. Contributes high to the marriage divorce rate. Oh, which incidentally, but the numbers say that damn near 80% of the women file for divorce because they ain't happy, or they trying to they try. I don't got no use for a woman like that, because you can't stick to stuff. But a lot of times they get out there and they meet this dude, he probably making very high six figures, and he got his thing, and he got his apartment, he got all the material thing. They're like, man. Then she start comparing her guy, who is a good dude, who is up and coming, who is working on his grind, and who will be there one day. But this microwave mentality, we want it now. If that's the type of woman you pick, then you deserve the fallout that comes from it. And that's why I said finding a very good woman, good woman is good. Black Beauty, pay me. Men don't understand anything by man, dismiss that comment. Actually, Black Beauty, you actually had said something that was pretty nice as far as like that in the last couple of things. But God, man, lady, you out of pocket. So you would definitely be one I wouldn't deal with. But as far as what we're thinking on, that this fact is this stuff is fact. Now,
I was going to say, Fitzgerald, read the whole comment. I mean, you think
this is example for people who okay, I like marriage, but on my terms. I like marriage, but you're disqualified. You know, hey, why is it that black people have the highest, some of the highest rates of not being married? Especially, why are black women some of the least chosen women on all the planet? Every race has, especially American black women, every Western black women, every race has problem. But why is that a lot of the other races already locked down? You know, with marriage, 21, 25, 27. Then you got a lot of black women, as far as right there, 33, even 50, thinking that their value is just as strong as when they was 23 and 24. You see how asinine that is? And then you want to combat facts and combat statistics, the highest unwed mother ratio. I mean, as something has to be examined. Something has to look around there. Tukey, are we really going there? Yeah, hell, yeah, I'm right there. I'm very right there because my words are true. Now, and Dynas, it maybe looking at that black marriage to save the black family on the current condition that it is right now is a failure.
Wow.
That's my conclusion.
Okay. African always. Go ahead. Then I'm gonna bring Brandon on too. Go ahead, African always.
Yeah, thank you so much.
And once again, guys, hit the like button again, please, guys. Do me a favor, hit that like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to Fitzgerald's page. Find ways to win. All right, go ahead, African always.
So Fitzgerald, you and I are the same age. So from an age perspective, I think time perspective, we've kind of seen it all. I mean, we've seen all different types. I've been married 32 years, same woman. My dad's been married, he's passed now, but he was married, he and my mom, I think 60 years? It's a long time. My mom gave me one piece of advice when I was a young man going out in the real world. She said to me, when you're looking for a wife, it's not where she is, it's where she's going. And I said, what do you mean where she's going? She said, well, you have a plan for your life, right? And if you have a plan for your life, you're signing up for somebody to come along with you on that journey. So that person has to understand your journey and be willing to accept and be part of that journey. What I find, in fact, of the guys who got married with me at the same time, they split into three groups. Those who got divorced very early, those who got divorced after 10 years, 12 years, and then those who are long haulers like myself, who've been married for 32 years, as I said. I had a couple of policies. One, I would never sleep with a woman that could not, that I would, if I were to drop dead, and she had a child for me, that she couldn't take care of the child and bring that child up in the right way. So that's one policy I had up front. So I don't care whatever else you bring to it. The other thing I'm going to say is, when I met my wife, she was making twice what I was making. Twice. It was never a problem because, again, it's not where I was or where she was, it's where we were going. It's very, very important. I find, the Proverbs 31 woman that everybody quotes, they misquote half of it, or should I say, they only quote a portion of it. That woman, if you remember in the Bible, she got up early in the morning. She was running literally the damn household. She was buying land. Her husband was respected in the town. In fact, he was a judge based on those situations. So she was a businesswoman, but at the same time, her husband was a judge, respected, looked upon by the whole district, by the community. So the two can coexist. The question is, how do we, in today's modern day and age, make that work? Because what I find is when I see a lot of people, their idea of love is essentially sex, and beyond that, there's nothing else. I once told a young man, I said, I don't care what argument you have with your wife, you have to get your ass up and go to work and bring home the bacon because that's your responsibility. And it has nothing to do with how you feel about her that day or how she feels about you that day. You've got a responsibility. And he looked at me like I was speaking Greek. So the idea of commitment is something that is not taught. Most people don't see it and they don't understand it. They have no clue whatsoever. So the first hint of trouble in a marriage, people head for the doors or the exit. For 32 years, I had one policy. will never go to bed angry at each other. Period. End of story. I don't care what the problem was. We're going to solve that before we go to bed, because tomorrow it's going to be twice as hard. And the day after, 4 times as hard. These are some little things. It's not the big things that destroy marriages. It's the little things that eats away at it. Secondly, when I went to marry somebody, I damn sure wasn't going to marry any dumb woman. I found the smartest woman I could find, because where I wanted to go, I needed a smart woman. Now, smart doesn't mean that they're full of themselves or anything like that. That's not smart. A smart woman can read a situation and know exactly how to respond to a situation. That's a smart woman. Okay? It has to do with education, right? Intelligence is not education. Intelligence is intelligence. So people misunderstand. So as I said to you, when I met my wife, she was making twice what I was making. Over the years, when my daughter was young, she was able to stay home and take care of the family. I took care of everything, right? And yes, I made, over the years, salary-wise, it went all the way up. But what I find is I would never, ever make a decision without consulting my wife. What the heck? Listen, 2 heads are better than 1. And I find that when you respect your wife, she will respect you back even more. And so I would never, if I'm going to buy a car, I want to know her opinion, right? It's the final decision is mine. But I have never really had to go against her thing, because usually she knows exactly what I'm thinking, and I know what exactly she's thinking. The other thing I'm going to say to you is, I was a little boy once when my father was home and we were supposed to go somewhere between my mom and my dad and myself. And my dad got ready and he was sitting in the car. And I said to my dad, let's leave, because, you're a little young kid. You want to go on the journey right away. And I said to my dad, let's just leave the house and go right now. Leave my mom. And we can, she can't, you're an adult. She can't do anything to you. And my dad smiled and he said, son, one day you'll understand that that's not possible. That's not something you want to do, because if you just ignore her feelings, there'll be a price to pay down the road. What I find with many marriages today is what we call respect. Okay. I have never had to demand my wife respect me. I earn her respect. I have never had to tell her to respect me. She knows to respect me. And frankly, to be honest with you, she respects me beyond. And this is what I'm hearing from outsiders. The other aspect of it is she's a career person, high-powered career. Every single morning I drop her at the train station, she is a beautiful woman. And I tell her every day, you're a beautiful woman. People are not machines. They have feelings. And what I find is, if you want more out of a woman, put more in. But make sure when you decide up front that you sit down and you have a proper conversation as to where you're going. On my first date with my wife, I put her in my car. My car heater wasn't working. And this was in New York. And it was 15 degrees. And she and I stayed in that frozen car for 2.5 hours talking. And what that tells me, I said to my friend, I said, if she comes out on another date with me, that means I'm set. Because no woman on a first date, you freeze her butt off and then she's going to come back with you. But what she said to me was, what you were saying was interesting. And I wanted to see where you were going. And I said the same thing to her. I wanted to see where you were going. Because life is a journey. Even in an investment, if you're going to have partners, you need to know what the partners, where their vision for the investment is going. So those are the things that I see that are lacking in today's marriage. The first hint of trouble, people run for the door. That's not commitment. That's not responsibility. And I see it as a manager. I've managed many, many people over the years, and I see it even in their work attitude. And, again, I have never, and I have some very powerful black friends with black wives. All of us have black wives. And I know we are the anomaly. I understand that. But I am telling you, these guys have really powerful wives with powerful jobs. But when you see the respect they get, It's mind blowing. I know it's mind blowing for most black folk because they think that a high powered black woman can't give you respect. It's respect. It's what you command. It's not telling her. It's how you act towards her. It's how you act towards what you do, how you involve her in the conversation. How think of it this way: if came to you and I said, "Look, I want to invest some money with you," right, or start a partnership, you'd have a bunch of questions. Where are you going with this thing? What is its purpose? And what kind of commitment are you going to make to these things? These are basic things that humans need. And what I find is that most relationships today start off with, "Oh, she's gorgeous." Well, that's a critical piece. I understand because I tell my wife all the time, I wouldn't marry a woman that's ugly. Period. End of story. Not when I can get a beautiful one and a smart one and a loving one, with all of that at the same time. But you have to when you meet a woman, in order for her to respect you, you have to see something in her that you respect, because you cannot fly. It's like it's two wings. She has one and you have one, and if it's not beating together, what you're going to have is a lopsided situation, and that marriage can't last. That's why I said to you, they fall into three categories. The friends that I got married, most of the friends that I got married to, I would say half of them are still married. So we're talking about long haulers here. But the other half got divorced pretty quickly. I'm going to say 5 to 7 years, and some of them didn't even last a year. And I ask people the question: if you're going to marry somebody and divorce in a year, did you even have a clue as to what you were doing? Were you drunk that day when they put the ring on your finger? Or were you just marrying for a booty call? Because you can get that without having to marry, right? As I said, part of the reason is probably because I saw my mom. She was a businesswoman, a high-powered woman, but she never once disrespected my dad, not once. In fact, I can't remember something that is like out of the ordinary, because he commanded respect because he was a respectable man. He had a mission. He took care of his family. He could be counted on by not just us as a family, but family members, extended family members, right? My mom raised 16 kids. She doesn't have 16 kids. But what happens is all her cousins and stuff and uncles realized that we had a good thing going and they wanted some of it. And she raised them. She took them in and raised them. And when they were in our house, she treated them exactly the same way she treated us. So if there was $1 to go around, it would be broken down evenly. And that is the example I saw. So when I went out to go look for a wife, I looked for the same bloody thing. I wasn't going to marry somebody who wasn't sharp, who wasn't good looking, but who doesn't understand power. If a woman or a man doesn't understand power, they're going to make foolish decisions. And when I say understand power, I heard a prior conversation on this thing where the guy was talking about you just tell your woman to do this and tell your woman to do that. Any guy who says that isn't going to be married very long. And if he's married, he's not going to get the kind of wife that that needs to build him up. My wife will kill you if you try to come against me. That's the kind of woman I have. Meaning she has my back 100%. In my 32 years, I have never cheated, not even once, and I never even thought of it. It wasn't necessary because, like I said, the first thing you do is you go get yourself a good-looking woman. That's the first part, because my dad told me as a young boy, he said, look, there's always going to be a young girl who's going to be more fine-looking than your wife at some time because she's going to get older and older. So that will never end. So if that is your mission, hey, have at it, but that's not going to carry you anywhere. And that stuck with me. I was 10 years old, 11 years old, and that stuck with me for nearly 40 plus years. So what I'm saying here is this: it can happen. Long marriages can happen. I know quite a few people who've been married 30. In fact, my brother's been 35. But I have a sister who was divorced pretty quickly too.
Hey, colleague, African always. I was gonna have pass it to Fitzgerald real quick for him to respond, and we got Brandon on. I know Fitzgerald. Yeah.
What I was thinking, Dynast, is that I shouldn't have been the host. African always should have been. because yes, I thank you so much for your contribution, brother. Yes, we both have experience, but it turned out to me, it seems to me you have a very positive experience that is worth noting. And you was giving kudos for how you did it. See, ladies and gentlemen, it's the man's responsibility, I think, more so, just like the woman's responsibility. Marriage is a balance. I'm not beating up on women. I'm not. That's not the thing. I've already said earlier in the stream. I think the man has much more responsibility. I'm not for whorish men, just like I'm not for whorish women. If you're going to have a good type of marriage that we obviously see that Mr. African always is has achieved and is still yet achieving. So he has said this much better than I can. You know what? I failed in my marriage. Well, why is it relevant? But I failed. There's a man, is going on 32 years, and still with the same woman. Here's a man, he's not he don't have side chicks. He's not in adultery. They seem like his woman is not neither. This is the stuff that is to be celebrated. These are the voices that we really need to hear on this. Okay, now you told me the problem, and as a video of mine said, you told me probably not. Let's find a way to win. This man is continuing winning. And for what I'm actually hearing in his voice, it's a continually ongoing process. I haven't thought one time in my mind, like, man, this guy has arrived, it's on autopilot. I didn't get that one time with him. So I really thank you for this contribution. But my thing is, yes, I hold partners in the same thing. Both the man and the woman. No, they're not equal. The man has more responsibility to make that thing work.
Absolutely.
Work than his wife. He is the one. He is the one that most of the weight is. But the wife has to cooperate with a man of disproportion, like African always is, to cooperate with her man in order to get these type of results. So thank you, Mr. Brandon. Talk to me.
I want to ask African always a question real quick. Can you name a time you and your wife had an argument and tell us how you resolved that argument? Like kind of a tough argument, not like what we having for breakfast, but like something where you felt strongly on an issue and she felt very strongly and neither one was trying to back down on that. How did you resolve it?
Yeah, we were actually looking at a property once, and it was a building that was in really bad shape. And based on my background, I realized that this was a good opportunity because it was a brick building. Once you have a brick building, there's a lot you can do with it as opposed to a siding building. But she doesn't have that background. She's looking more for something finished. And I said to her, like, hey, let's buy this one. And she was like, no way. She's not going to, let's buy something more. And I'm saying, okay. So I said to her, look, and I understood from her perspective, because she doesn't want to lose, you're talking about buying a property. It's a lot of money, right? And what is the biggest problem in many marriages? Money. So I said to her, okay, let's take the numbers, because again, that's why I said to you, you need a smart woman, because if you don't have a smart woman, you're gonna have a problem, or intelligent woman, you're gonna have a problem. Because this was, for me, it was, I saw the potential in the building, but she didn't, right? So she wanted a more finished product, but twice the price or twice the money. And I said to her, look, we're gonna buy more than one. If I go wrong with this one, the next one, I won't even say a thing. In other words, whatever you want for the next one, that's going to be fine. What that did was it did two things. One, it said, damn, he values my opinion. So that, in other words, because I could see the deal and I didn't want this deal to pass, right? But I can't, it's hard to convince somebody of an idea you have in your head, right? But what I wanted her to know was that I took 100% understanding of where she was coming from. In other words, she needs to feel that she was heard. She also needs to feel that she contributed to that conversation or to that decision. And I said to her, there are times when you're just gonna have to trust what I say to you, and you're gonna have to trust what I say to you. And this is one of those. So I'm calling this chip right now. And we were driving home from the building, and she said to me, she was dead quiet. As we got closer to our home, she said to me, you know what? I'm going to take you up on this offer. If this goes south, the next one we get will never be like this. And that's how we solve that problem. So basically what I'm saying here is that the other party has to feel that they are part of the conversation. They have to be that they're contributing. This is where the word respect comes in. And I think most people misunderstand it. I could have said, woman, I'm going to buy this house no matter what. But like my father said, you could do that. You go ahead and do that. But there's a price to pay. And I wasn't willing to pay that price. First of all, I didn't mind her to have to boss her around. I didn't seek out a smart woman to make her dumb and make me feel like I'm special. I don't need a woman to make me feel special. I'm special. I'm a smart person, at least I hope, I think. Somebody can tell me I'm full of crap, but I will always believe I'm smart. So I'm not looking for validation from that perspective. So it's easy to give it to her. It's easy to give it to her. So we bought the building. Guess what? It was one of the best deals we ever did. You know what's happened since then? Anyone we buy are like that. Because guess what? She's a believer now. She is a believer. Another example was the car, right? She wanted an Acura. At that time, the Acura was, it was just came out. So it was a luxury car. And me, being a frugal guy, I don't want to spend the money on the car, right? I want to buy something more affordable. And we went back and forth. And she said to me one day, she said, look, do this for me. Do this for me. And when she said that, I knew what she meant. We got the Acura. In fact, we still have it. We still have it to this day. Right?
Acura's a good car.
Yeah, we bought it, tripped up and everything. Navigation, everything. My point, though, is that in any relationship, the other party has to feel like they're heard. If they do not, then you're going to have a big problem in it, right? People will follow you across anywhere if they believe, one, you have their interest, and you will fight for them tooth and nail. They'll follow you anywhere in the world. That's, and that is, to me, where I see where it is not the income that the women make in the Black community today. That is the issue. The issue is, how are you going to lead a woman who's making $200,000? I know of a friend of, well, it's not a friend of mine, a friend of a friend of mine. His wife is a powerful lawyer, makes over $400,000. He's a construction worker, and they have an excellent marriage. They've been married for about 20-something years. How the hell does it work? It's not the money that's the issue. If the woman feels like you've got her, because the thing a woman wants is she wants to feel secure. She wants to know that you have her back 100%. And a woman who feels that will go to war for you, my friend. She will, if anybody says anything to you about you, she will go to war for that person. I mean, against that person. Because she's got your back. She's got your back. But she has to feel like she's heard. She has to feel, she doesn't have to feel, she has to know that when the chips fall, if you have to take one for her or two for her, you take it. And if you do that, right? As I said to you, when I married her, she was making twice what I was making. Right?
Can Fitzgerald, if you don't mind, could you kind of give us a similar story, like where you guys had a tough argument or a tough decision to make, didn't see eye to eye on it, and like how you resolved that situation, whether it was like similar to African Always or maybe different? Do you have any examples of that?
No, because I wasn't as skilled in my communication as I am now. I made my wife felt like, she lost, she was beat down, and that's not the way to do it. This tact that African Always has, I didn't have it back 22 years ago. I just didn't have it. I was a different man, I had a false sense of masculinity, meaning like you just always gotta, you know, handle stuff and you handle it on your own. That's the community I grew up. I wished I would have, but I do remember this as he was talking to me. My wife would constantly say, "You're not listening to me. You're not listening to me. Not listen to me." I didn't know how to take I didn't know how to take that in a way that, like, you're not saying in a way that's making me comfortable. You're not moving in a way that's making comfortable. Meanwhile, I just thought I had to move, and that was wrong. I recently have learned how to much better communicate. But in that realm back then,
Fitzgerald, your mic. Something happened with your mic.
I don't know what's going on. I'm not muted. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you, not as loud as before.
Okay, let me talk a little louder. And I wasn't wasn't an effective communicator as of right now, because I fail to the majority of time put myself in her space, and how would she see it, how we think it. I had to, with that toxic masculinity that I was told, a man get this going to be this way, and this is the way we're going, without considering that I was actually, you know, tearing down her spirit at times. And a human being can only take so much of that. Ladies and gentlemen, with the majority of my failure marriage, my breakup in marriage, that was my fault. Okay, I should have known how to better to lead. I should have known how to better to communicate. Those are prices that I paid, you know, and that I have paid. Wish to God we could have went to. Wish to God we could have went to counselors such as African Always and his wife that would have given that wise counsel. I would have listened. Perhaps she would have listened, but we just didn't have that type of mentorship to do how to communicate that into us. We'll go out, and so it's a hell of a price that would pay. That paid. I don't think anybody goes into marriage. Mr. Brandon, Mr. Amir, Mr. Always. I don't think anyone goes in. I want to get divorced right now. I mean, maybe a Brittany Reiner. Yeah. Okay.
Hey, Fitzgerald, I was going to say your volume's real low. I don't know. Maybe you got a call and
hold on one minute.
Knock it off, or
yeah, I don't know what's going on, but let me just start real talking louder. I think the majority of people go into marriage like, hey, I want to have a great marriage. I want to build with this person and woman, but something happens, and they don't know how to handle the tidal waves and shaking and quaking in life. Sometimes little things can be insurmountable things. But you know, African Always, you and your wife need to start a marriage channel, man, a YouTube channel. Hell, I'll be one first to subscribe. You know, because this is the type of knowledge that's needed. You got those guys like me. Yeah, hey, I've been through it. You know, I've learned a couple things, but I failed. But rare are the guys like you. I'm making it successful. I'm working it. Me and my wife are gelling. This is how we're doing in 32 years. You know, no man can argue with that. Brandon, kudos on you. You got a long standing marriage. Obviously, you know, you're doing something's right. She's still there. You're still there. And so these are the voices we need to hear, because experience and application beat experience alone any day of the week. So that's all I want to say. I just, you know, I don't want to, what's the word? I want to use mesmerized, but I think that's too strong. But sir, I'll use a strong word. I am actually humbled by your counsel. I really am, because now I look back on, man, yeah, I could have did that. Or yeah, that's what something she was trying to say to me. But you know, the price is paid now, and the price of failure is paid. And you know, there's not a day that goes by that I don't regret the destruction of my marriage nor think about her. But that's gone now, and I wish I would have had this counsel now.
What I was going to point out is, like, I'm kind of like you, Fitzgerald, in the sense that I'm a very domineering person. I always think I'm right. You guys see me on here. I'm very forceful and very sure of myself. And that's one of the things that my wife likes about me, because my wife is a more reserved person, right? She ain't going to sit up arguing with you.
Okay, let me interject right now. Brandon made a great point. His wife likes about him. All wives are individual, all husbands. My wife didn't like that about me. The confidence, yes, but sometimes the domineering, you know, the hey, it's going to roll like this, that's wrong. But his wife, Brandon's wife, liked that about him. That works, but that did not work with me. So you're looking at individuals. You know, you can take a little information from different people, but you apply it in your home, in your particular personality bent with your spouse. Great point you just brought up,
Like, and that's what I'm trying to point out. You have different people. That marriage is a very individual thing because it's two individuals coming together, right? What works for African always wife might not work for my wife. My wife is more of the like, don't bother me. You the man, make the decision. If it mess up, it's on you. That's my wife. My wife is very like, don't even come at me with nothing. I don't want to think about it. I want you to do it. That's my wife.
Okay.
Some bill get paid like the other day. My wife was like, this probably was like 3 months ago. My wife was like, I don't want to pay part of the mortgage. She just walked in and said that. I don't want to pay it. I said, can you pay the internet bill? She said, how much is the internet bill? I said, $69.99 a month. She said, I think I could pay that. So now I pay the mortgage. That's just the way it is. Shit.
But
So
it works. It works for you, though.
it works for me, right? Because I'm that guy. I'm like, I can step up to the challenge. I made a video on my channel, how to make $100 every day before 12 o'clock. That's what I be doing because I'm a creative guy, know how to bring money in and all that stuff. Now today, so like there's different women. And I really feel like a lot of us pick the wrong women. And a lot of us pick the wrong men. We try to take a square peg and fit it into a square hole just because it's sexy. Oh, she bomb. Other guys want her. That's our biggest issue, our biggest problem. We want the girl that everybody else want. We want the man that everybody else want. You might want the guy who got the good, and I hear women say, oh, like that's one of the flaws I think in Kevin Samuels' reasoning. Kevin Samuels equates everything to how much money everybody's making, and this is what makes you high value and stuff like that. There are women who don't want a man that work all the time like that to make all that money because they want a man who could spend time with them. They want a man who he makes a little bit of money, she makes a little bit of money, and them coming together, they can spend time together. Like in my situation, we probably don't make as much money as African always. But today at 12, I'm going to go have lunch with my wife. This morning, me and my wife had a talk with my daughter. We got to talk with my daughter about some projects she's doing at school for a whole hour. We got to sit and make my daughter breakfast, and she ate. And as a family, we sat there and we're going to have lunch at 12. And then after that, we say, hey, what do you want to do for the rest of the day?
But Brandon, that's a good, but what you're describing there is a really good thing. I mean,
that's, yeah.
Don't sell yourself short here.
Because no. What I'm saying is the way we organize our life and our marriage is in our work life is we value the time with each other more than anything. So that's what we want to have for the majority of our time. There are other people who like to work and be high earners.
I was one of those. I remember in one of my
African. Let me say this about you. Let me say this one thing about you that I think is a parallel amongst all of us. One thing you said, your wife's a high earner, but there's one thing in the very beginning of when you was talking, I heard you say, when your wife had a baby, she was able to stay at home, right?
Yes.
When that is a big thing, because sometimes women, they don't necessarily mind working. They don't necessarily mind earning money. But when they need time, when they need to be able to say, look, I'm not working for 6 months. I'm not working for a year. Every woman needs the ability to do that.
Right.
And that's the pitfall you fall into when you get into this. Both men and women need to be earners. Both men and women need to be breadwinners. A man has a higher responsibility. Yes. His woman
the buck stops. The buck stops with him ultimately. But let me add to what you just said here, because I don't want to leave the misimpression. When we first got married, in fact, I would say that the first 3 years of our marriage was the toughest. And what did I mean by that? Well, I won't go into all the details of it, but there were. When she was pregnant, it was a very tough time for her and stuff like that. And I remember very early on in the marriage, after the child was born, I got a bill for 50 something $1,000, and I had no such kind of money, not even close, to pay to make sure, medical bills and stuff like that. So I remember at one stage we were so broke that we barely had enough to pay a small bill here or there. I said something earlier than that, Brandon, and that is what my mom said to me is not where she is where she's going. And her point was that because I asked her, how were you and dad able to do what you do? And she said, I knew where he wanted to go. I agreed with him where he wanted to go. He knew where I wanted to go, and we both agreed, and we went. So we didn't have to fight each other. In other words, if you say you're going to buy a house, for example, here's a typical money example. You're going to buy a house. You say, okay, you start to save. You're going to save the down payment money. You realize that year you can't maybe take a vacation. There's a bunch of things you cannot do. So, but the vision that you have is what's going to control how you behave. So if both of you are saving towards that house, she's not going to go out and go buy that extra dress. You're not going to go out and buy that extra set of rims for your car. You're not going to do shit like that. You're just not going to do that, because what is governing your action is the destination, the house. The house is the destination. Now, if you have kids, at the very youngest age, my daughter knew what a mortgage was because I explained to her what the hell a mortgage is. Right? She's not too small at the age of 6 or 7, right? She's not too small. Even at the age of 5, she went to the store and she wanted every cereal she could find at the age of 5. I gave her $5 and say, go to the store. And I went with her and she picked up about 6 or 7 cereal, went to the checkout counter and realized she could only afford one. She learned the value of money at that point. She was 5, but she learned the value of money. Never had that problem again with cereal, those commercials they have, Fruit Loops, those commercials and stuff like that. That's how I solved that problem. But I don't want to say no to her. I want her to learn why she can't have the extra cereal. The issue with most marriages is I see from the ones that I see that failed drastically is they didn't have a common destination where they were going. So if one agrees they want to buy a house and the other one says, I'm not part of that, then she's going to go out and buy a dress or go to a party or whatever the case may be. That is why it's important to have the conversations. It's not about being the boss. A good boss will get the workers to do what he or she needs without having to command them crazy.
Let me highlight something. Dynas, you see this comment by D Brown right here? I wish black men were into really tall women.
She's trolling. She got it.
No. Click that up, because I'm gonna give an example of. I like that she put that, because there are issues. My daughter is real tall, and every boy in her school is significantly shorter than her. Because my daughter is taller than me. She middle blocker in volleyball. She real tall. So she's like, I wish black men were into really tall women, and a lot of women and men run into that type of thing. There might be some certain aspect of their character that they feel kind of limits their ability to get men. Okay, but is D Brown going to basketball games? Is she going to WNBA games? Is she going to volleyball games? Is she going somewhere where you will run into people who are your height, or where people who are tall are appreciated? See what I'm saying? Because tall athletes, they have no problem finding husbands, because they're in spaces where people meet that certain dynamic, right?
Threshold, yeah.
That threshold. You got to put yourself in a position to find the person you want. Exactly. Everybody going to the damn club to find somebody, Dynas. But they wonder why they get the same type of but they wonder why they're getting the same type of person. If you want a man who works, if you want a man who's industrious, if you want a man who's clever, go to Home Depot and find
exactly.
Go in there, look like you confused. One, he gonna have a job, or he gonna have some skill. 2, he's probably gonna be very helpful, and he's probably gonna be a thinker, like a tinker. We don't put ourselves in a position to find the people that we want. We go to the club, the restaurant, the bullshit freaknik, and then wonder why we all keep finding the same type of people.
Brandon, what you said there is spot on. Uh, for many people, frankly, the worst place to find somebody is at social occasions, because that's when people are on their best behavior. As you go to a restaurant, a club, or whatever it is, if you find somebody at a club, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to be pretty happy 6 months or a year from now. If you, funny enough, the guys with the money are not the guys driving the Beamer. It's the
Dynasty, you
damn guy
got
with the
feedback.
construction truck. It's the guy with the construction truck. It's the guy who looks like, he's constantly in things that look like he fell in a vat of paint or something like that. Because one, he has to be responsible because he's doing some kind of a job, right? For the issue I find is when you're dating somebody, where's the conversation? I told you when I took my wife out for the first time, we had a little Volkswagen Beetle and there was no heat, and it was 15 degrees in New York, and we drove from Brooklyn straight to Long Island and back in that frozen car. What would keep a woman in a frozen car, or a freezing car, should I say, for nearly 2.5 hours? Clearly, there was something going on from a conversation perspective, because it can't be about the luxury. And as I said, she made twice what I made. At the time, I didn't know that, but when I found out later on, it didn't matter to me if she made $2 or $2 million. What mattered to me, because again, it's about confidence. I observed, and Fitzgerald, don't beat up yourself, because the truth is that I had a good example, my parents. So I had it right in the house. So many people don't have that advantage. So when I get a chance to mentor young people, I have to explain to them, this issue called commitment is not, we're in an instant society where everything is instant. Commitment is much bigger than that. And as I said, even if you and your wife have an argument, you still got to get up and go to work and come back. Early on in my marriage, I was working full time and I was doing 18 credits. 18 credits, guys. Think about it. So where was my time? I had very little time, but the little time I had to make it count. And as I said, 32 years later, and as far as I'm concerned, she's the most beautiful woman I know on this planet. Just this morning, I told her, go out and grace the public with your smile, because some people that this morning might have a really bad time, and you're the only smiling face they see for that day.
Dude, you're African, you a damn sweet talker. That's why you've been married 32 years.
Listen,
grace the world with your smiling. Girls like that.
Make it easy. Make it easy on yourself. Find a beautiful woman. Find a beautiful woman. Like I said, find a beautiful woman. Find a smart woman, right? And find an intelligent woman. You don't start out. Look, there are lots of beautiful women who are not so on the attractive side, but they're smart brain-wise. That wasn't me. And I'm honest in telling you that wasn't me, right?
Hey, big time. You got to be with somebody you're attracted to.
Exactly.
Because, man, let me tell you something. This is a true fact, and I want all y'all to pay attention. This might sound shallow as hell, but this is true. It is easier to work things out with a woman who is beautiful than a woman who is not attractive. I guarantee you that.
Even in life.
Even my wife, I could be mad as hell at my wife sometimes. And I just start looking at her, and I'll be like, damn, she is so sexy. And that'll kind of ease my mood. You know what I'm saying? Like, when I met my wife, I was beating somebody up. I swear to God, I was beating somebody up when I met my wife. As a matter of fact, we was in college. I got kicked out of the college, Dynast, for beating up a Samoan. I was beating somebody up. They had helicopters and stuff. It was crazy. But my wife's boyfriend at that time told her, I don't want you talking to those dudes. Those dudes are thugs. Those dudes are criminals. Those dudes are degenerates. You better not. And our little crew we had was called the Nerds too, because they let us make clubs. So we just got all the toughest dudes at the college and called ourselves the Nerds. But he was like, I don't want you hanging around those dudes. And I don't know why he put the restriction, because that must have made her want to talk to me more, because I got kicked out of the school. I'm over in Compton somewhere just hanging out, and I get a phone call. I pick up my phone like, hello, who is this? and it was my wife on the line. Oh, I was just wondering where you was at. Like, haven't seen you at school. Like, what, you know, and the rest is history, right? But
Brandon, she obviously saw something she liked, my friend. And
right. She saw all that. She saw all that alpha energy. She was like, "Ooh, he looked like he, you know, no." But that she saw what she wanted and she went after that, right? And then I had the wisdom to kind of like dial back some of my crazy behavior and kind of make a relationship with her. But man, you know, pick someone you're attracted to, take time to be together, you know, and you just have to, like, people say compromise. You got to be willing to compromise. You just have to be willing to think before you speak and think before you act. Treat your marriage like you treat your job. You might get pissed off at work, but you ain't gonna just blurt out no crazy stuff to your boss. You gonna go to the bathroom, take a time out, go sit in your cubicle, calm your nerves before you go back in a professional way and say what you gotta say. Now, me in my house, I get away with a little bit more tyranny probably than most men. I could be a little bit more crazy because my wife is just so chill and she doesn't take me seriously.
she's the opposite to you. I mean, in other words, it sounds to me from what you're describing here. Is the opposite. But Fitzgerald, I have a question for you because you said earlier that your marriages didn't work, but obviously you have the benefit of hindsight now, right? If you could look back at any of those marriages and take the experience you have now, would any of those, do you think you'd be able to take the experience you have now, bring it back in time if that was possible, and one of those would probably still be with you today?
Would it work if I had the experience to take it back in the time, the time frame back, take it back in the time frame back then? What I know now.
Yeah.
No.
It wouldn't work. Okay.
So
there were more fundamental problems there. Okay.
Here's why. Because, you know, marriage takes two people. If one is not ready for that compromise, or one is telling you this just the way I am, you're dead in the water. You can't go nowhere.
Yeah,
it can't. Absolutely. So that's why I said, you know, two styles of thinking, two different things, and an absolute refusal to compromise for the betterment of the unit. No, it wouldn't work. And then on the final thing, because unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, I got about 5 minutes on here. I've already requested Prince Amir to keep this stream going. You know, I learned from listening to Brandon and African Always. I learned from the guests too. I don't just try to take over, man. I'm a student just like you guys. You know, I'm trying to learn to get better, but I learned. You know what? Now, since that time, I have a, you know, what Brandon said, that you have to put yourself in an environment for people. It's talking about tall women. Incidentally, I love trees. Dynas knows what that means, so I ain't got no problem with you. And so I realized that I use my work as anesthesia. Okay, I don't put myself out there. Not that I can't go out there and find a woman if I want to, a good-looking woman, an intelligent one. I just like. I just don't see the sense of urgency. You know, I don't want to push it so much. And B, but I got to feel that loneliness somewhere. Got to dissipate that loneliness somewhere, because believe me, it comes, especially at night. Met with a man that live alone, and you know, and just it just has it like that. I use my work. I'll work dang near to exhaustion. I'll sleep because all the way I'm trying to, you know, to deal with the loneliness, to deal with the fact, do I really, really want to put that work back in another relationship? Because I gave it everything I had, and it just took so much out of me. So I recommend you guys don't go down that path that I'm currently on, that I know I have to get off, but I've been on it so long, I don't really know how to do it. I don't get around the areas to socialize besides going to a cigar bar and a bunch of guys hang there. I don't go to the libraries and the art shows like I used to. But what I'll do, I'll just try to anesthetize the loneliness by constantly keep working. And I say work, I'm talking about the 2-job things, you know, and I'm talking about, you know, just coming in, falling asleep sometimes in my clothes. And I'll get up and do it again. Why? Because I don't want to deal with the loneliness or the memories that come through it and stuff. And I know I got to get back out there. I know I had to. I know I had to get back out there. I know you're not going to find anybody sitting up cooped up in my vehicle, in my car, and the things I do. So don't do that. Don't do that. That, you know, give yourself a chance. Far as with love, okay, relationships fail, you know, cars fail, things fail, but don't be at such a point where you just isolate yourself off and you start looking at a whole bunch of red pill content, or women start listening to a whole lot of these divorced single chicks, you know, or the worst of all, the old thoughts, you know, the bitter chicks, you know, who seem to have their life mission to make sure that the younger generation be just as miserable as them is. And yes, I said it.
That's true.
So put yourself in a position where you can win. You know, but then you know, you can only grieve so long. You know, I have mine about going on dang 4 years and stuff. And so, and because the simple the fact, my grieving process, the simple the fact of the matter is that time is getting by. I know that I can get away with a couple of things because I am a man. Okay, now I know I could go out there and start a family, you know, at my age. Maybe be reluctant to do so because I feel like I'm just.
You could start 2 families like all my uncles.
Well, that's the thing. But I just want to give a little advice, guys. You know, you gotta hide. You can't hide behind your things. The best way to face hurt and you gotta engage in it. You gotta have a slow, very short memory. Get back on that. Not all black women are bad. Not all black men are bad. If that's your point, you know, hey, I celebrate you. That's what you want. Celebrate. Just make sure you make better choices now. Make sure you look for the red flags. Make sure, lady, you don't go in there thinking I can make me a man and I can change him. If that dude put his drawers on crooked and he wears his hat crooked and his life is crooked, he gonna be crooked when you put a ring on when he's your husband. You gotta, you know, and so you gotta understand, but you also have to put yourself in the atmosphere where those type of cats are, and you know, and they don't hang at clubs. You know, they're at business conferences, they're at art shows. My first date with my wife. You know, I took her to a restaurant, but we started winding up at like art shows. We start doing stuff like that. She was taller than me, you know, but the thing about it is she liked my intellect more, you know, because I was sitting on there challenging her and doing that stuff. And somehow I let the cares of the world get in and the cares of life and trying to make a good living and the frustration to come up with that, man. In a lot of ways, we were more happier in that 2-bedroom apartment I had in East Point that stole that 3,000 square foot house I had in McDonough. You know, but so don't let that be your life. There is a possible way for you to get things that what you want. You can have a great relationship with a black man and black woman. All of them are not toxic. I don't believe that. I don't believe that media, and keep in mind they play a lot of stuff. I mean, why aren't the women and the men out there who are doing marriage right? I don't see African always on the cover of Time. But you know, I don't see him on World Star. I don't see him on things like that. This is what need to be celebrated. But don't get yourself in a position for the final time. You're playing the game like me. You're just using your work or whatever hobby. You know, thank God I don't have any crazy vices like drugs or anything like that, or drinking. That's not my game. But I'll work myself into oblivion. But I don't complain about not having a relationship because I know I'm not putting myself in a position not for that. But remember, the time is ticking. Time is really ticking. If that's what you want, a woman, go after it. If that's what you want, man, go after it. All these women say, well, I'm a traditional man, come after me. Well, stay single. Stay single. Not all
I agree with you.
you know, stay single. That's cool. Stay single.
I agree with you.
Get you a cat or get you a parrot. Because a lot of cats like me, you know, a lot of cats like me, we don't really so-called have a rap game. We can run conversation. We can dress well, we can speak well, but we don't really, you know, we don't really come after you much because hell, we like, okay, we come from mentality. You want something, go after it. You know, so it ain't nothing wrong with you asking a guy. It ain't nothing wrong for a guy, just like ain't nothing wrong for a guy as you. Hell, woman, it ain't nothing wrong for you paying for dinner one time. I mean, that's what you want. Because obviously, with the results that we see going on right now, a lot of stuff isn't working. We have to change our tactics if you want to win this personal war for you. You want someone to be with. You don't want to die alone. You don't want to spend. You want to build with. You want children. You want to have things like that. And no, it is not indictment against single mothers, provided you're not the same woman that made you a single mother. Okay. Mm-hmm. And no, man, just because one woman broke you down don't mean all women are H's and garden tools. No, you know.
Hey, Brandon.
But on that note, guys, I appreciate you, Brandon. Yeah. Man, it's always great to see you. African always. I like the fact that you came on, man. I hope you got a YouTube channel where I can subscribe. And I'll definitely ask you to subscribe to mine where I can keep in touch with you. And
we'll definitely be in touch.
And to the audience, thank you so very much for listening to some of the points. You know, not necessarily agreeing, because if you agree with everything we said, we got a bigger problem. You know, but thank you guys for everything. God bless you all. Dynast, thank you for hosting. Hopefully we will get a chance to get on again before you hit Africa. But if not, my brother, peace, love, and blessings to you. I truly appreciate you.
Hey, see you later, Fitzgerald. Hey, Dynast, I got one piece of advice real fast. There's somebody for everybody, man. I'm telling you, like, there are so many good black women out here. Like, I'll give you an example. I'll be going to the Vons right here by the crib on Ocean. It's this black girl in there. She got the same name as my wife. She is so sweet, so nice. We chop it up. I had to tell her I was married, of course. Broke her little heart. It's all good. But if, say, you a guy and you want to be married, but you don't like having another person always around you, go get you a girl who a flight attendant. Flight attendants make great wives because they already know how to cater to you. They know they have good customer service, so they know how to pretend to be nice even if they're feeling angry. That's a good wife choice. Marry a girl who works at the grocery store, somebody who just has good customer service, because your wife, ultimately, she's going to be like serving you. That's really her job. And in a way, you'll be serving her too, but primarily she'll be serving you. So you need to get a wife who knows how to serve, who knows how to serve with a smile and take pride in doing things for you. That's the woman who you're going to stay with. The woman who takes pride in taking care of you. She's personally invested in your success. You don't want the old battle axe with the big nostrils who's combative and she's worried about building her brand and you're just an accessory to her, and she's married just because she wants to say she had a ring and she wants to get married to prove to other people that somebody's willing to commit to her. You got a lot of women like that out here. You need those women who, service with a smile. Stay away from the McDonald's workers. Go for the bank tellers, the flight attendants, and the grocery store chicks. Those are the ones that make the best wives.
Okay, I'm going to close out myself because I have to run and I've got some commitment coming up. But let me say this. If you are interested in somebody and the only thing you see is beauty and nothing in the head, you got a problem. If you need a woman to make you feel like you're a man, you got a problem. A big problem. If you're not independent, in other words, because in order to, a marriage is not something where you go 50-50, it's 100-100. It's not 50-50, it's 100-100. Meaning that when two parties are going together, each party has to support each other, because you're not going to all be on the same high at the same time or on the same low at the same time. You're going to need to be there for that other person. The other thing is, I would say, this is what worked for me. I took the time to have conversations, real conversations. Where are you going? What do you think about this? What do you like about this? What do you don't like about this? Why? Because, as my mom said, it's a journey. And if you're on a journey to go to, if your journey is to get to Miami and they're heading west, you've got a problem. You've got a problem. And if you're going to west and they're going to Miami, you have a problem. So that conversation is very, very important. And the other thing I will leave everybody with is this. It's not how much money the woman makes for her to respect you. She can make 10 times the amount of money you make, right? I know from personal experience, she can make more money than you. Does she feel like you have her back? Because the same, I don't know of a man who wants a woman who doesn't, who he wouldn't want to feel that she's got his back. Every man that I know who's been married and been married for any period of time wants to know that the woman he has, the wife, has his back 100%. And if we guys want that, why do we think women don't want the same thing? So, in my father's time, a handshake sealed deals. In other words, his word meant something. Does your word mean anything? If you tell a woman Tuesday and you show up Thursday and you're not bothered, something is wrong. Because what she's counting on, it's funny, even as little kids, when people came to my house and my dad had lots of equipment and they wanted it, we knew when people came and wanted equipment without talking to my dad. Because my dad had a certain behavior that we know he would not say certain things, even though we were little kids. And the same thing is true about your spouse. Can she count on you and can you count on her? If you are one of those guys who cannot be counted on, my friend, you shouldn't be in the marriage business. You shouldn't be looking for a woman, frankly. Work on that first. And then once you get that done, then you can work on a relationship, because commitment is what is necessary for long-term relationships. And even if she's in your face that day, you need to bite your lip sometimes, because the next day is going to be there. And do you want the next day to be horrible or better? And the final thing I'm going to say is, don't ever leave a problem unsolved, because tomorrow is twice as hard. And the day after that, it's what do you call it? Exponential. So it's 4 times, and you get the idea. Solve the problem, right? Compromise is not a bad thing. Compromise is not a bad thing. At the end of the day, if I'm heading to Florida and I get to Virginia and they block the road off, I have to drive west, take 85 south, go to Atlanta and make a sudden left. That's what I have to do to get back onto 95 to get there. That's compromise. That doesn't mean I'm not going to Miami. It just simply means I had to take a detour here. You don't die on a hill for stupid things, guys. You don't die on a hill for stupid things. Lots of times I see guys, do you want a servant or do you want somebody who has your back? If you want somebody who has your back, respect
I want
them.
both.
Well, you can get both. Here's the funny part. No, hold on. Here's the funny part. When a woman respects you, they will do everything for you. They will do everything and more. So yeah, you can get both, but you have to do what I was saying. That's it, guys. That's all I have to say. Dynast, safe trip. When you get back, we can talk.
Bro.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
You. No problem. Edward Anderson, go ahead, Edward.
Are these like final comments?
Nah, take your time. We got about 23 more minutes. I usually roll for 2 hours. So go ahead.
All right. So what's up,
but
Dynast?
we go over. But go ahead. Take your time. It's been a minute too, Edward, but go ahead.
Yeah, and shout out to you hitting over, 100,000. I shared that. All right, man. So here's the thing. I'm gonna start off here. So I am a red pill guy. And so I'm gonna say that up front. Let me say this: the greatest power that men have is their power of choice. The objective of self-improving is to basically build your capacity to pretty much control your own quality of life, the environment you're in, the relationships you can have, the health, money, all that stuff, right? And so as far as the relationship piece, in the black red pill community, which is typically the black manosphere, we're for the most part talking about African American women. So one of the issues that I hear a lot of times in these conversations, because obviously, this is a Pan-Africanist channel, so you're going to get all of, black people, beautiful black people from different places, is when I hear people in their head, they're talking about, in their head, I can tell that they're speaking on principles that may be more African culture, even though Africa is obviously very diverse, or Caribbean culture, even though it's very diverse. So we're not always talking about the same thing. But with that being said, I definitely believe, and I try to introduce in the red pill community, intracultural dating, which is black men dating women of all the different cultures in the black community, because that fits into a pan-Africanist narrative. And also what that does, that solves the genetic problem, because you have a lot of black men that they want their grandkids to look like them. They have an issue with the software that sometimes we deal with in Africa America, but for the most part they do want a black woman. Now here's the thing: if you ask me, okay, what percentage of ADOS black women are quote unquote good women, and I qualify that as women that act like they got some goddamn common sense, I would say 20%. And then I would say there's probably another 20%, and if they're around that initial 20%, they'll act like they have some sense. Versus if they get around like the 80% that's like on some like hate men 100%, they'll be influenced by that. So that's the real numbers. Also, men are not leaving these relationships for the most part. Most of the time when women, when a relationship is over, it's because a woman's leaving. So this idea of commitment, and also black men are more married. Black men, it seems like in this community, want to be married more than our women. And this is coming out of what the women have already said. So when we get into the conversation about what men need to do, I mean, yeah, men need to do stuff for their own individuals, but I think that misses it. Also, and the last thing I'll say, and I'll get y'all thoughts on it, is there's a big difference between marriage and isolation. Like what African always said, you start off dealing with yourself, then get into a relationship, then get into a marriage. There's a lot of dudes that they're cool with being in a long-term relationship with a woman, but they're not really trying to put the paperwork on. There's folks that believe in spiritual marriages without getting the state into it. Because the reality is, once you get the state involved, that empowers the woman to do a lot of things that men don't have the ability to do because of the laws that are in the United States of America. The United States, the laws need to be updated. And I have often said that if women were smart, they would be the ones to take control of getting those laws updated. Because if you put out a more fair deal, we've kind of already started to establish that men want to be more married than women do today. So more men will jump into getting married. More men will be willing to be married. But men getting married and then losing a lot of stuff, and it doesn't matter. By the way, it doesn't matter if they don't have a lot of income, because they can still get hit for alimony. They can still get hit for child support. Because those are kids that were had in a marriage, and that still can mess with their income and their ability to earn income going into the next relationship. So earning power doesn't necessarily mean you have to have wealth. So these are real issues. And what men are looking for is they're looking for solutions to these issues. What men, if I speak for the quote unquote red pill community, what the red pill community is looking for, and I would argue a lot of people that are for real about it with pro-blacks, there's two problems with the black community. One is there's no social contract. I'm talking about African Americans. I don't know what other groups do. There is no social contract. And then number two, there is no checks and balances against bad female behavior. All the checks and balances are on men. So rather than nobody in our community, for the most part, is really preaching isolation. What you have is, because we got a lot of dudes that are married. We got dudes that are married, and they're married to black women. Married to black women, got all daughters, and been married for 30 years, and they'll sound more harsher than I will. So anyway, like I said, two problems: no social contract, no checks and balances. We solve that problem. Oh my God, we can solve a lot of other stuff. Thanks for letting me get that off. But what are y'all thoughts on? I know I said a lot.
Go ahead, Brandon.
Let me just speak to the end of what you said. No social contract, no checks and balances. Whose fault is that? There are social contracts. The family is a social contract, the nuclear family. In all these communities other than ours, what do you see? An emphasis on family. 2 parents, some kids, a dog, a house, whatever. That's a social contract. Why? Because 99% of people who have a family, they want the same things. They want a place that's safe, a safe neighborhood. They want a way to provide for their family, a legal way to do that. And they want to be able to buy nice things and give their family, their children, the things that they didn't have. So everybody, your neighbor next door to you, the 1950s setting, Diners, everybody on the block, dad's leaving for work, mom's in the house, baking cookies, kids are headed off to school. That is a social contract. We all agree that we want a better society for our children, and we're going to get it in this way or one way or another. Then checks and balances. There used to be checks and balances in our community. There used to be this rule. If a woman was doing certain things, She would have a hard time having a husband, finding a husband. She probably wouldn't have any kids, and her ignorance and degenerate behavior would die with her. Same thing with a man. He would have a hard time getting a wife. He wouldn't have any children, and his ignorant and degenerate behavior would die with him. The problem is, men will go have sex with a degenerate woman, a thought stripper who got kids already. Men will go hit that out of lust, right? And have a kid with her. Then they start complaining. Women will go sleep with some dude who has 4 kids that he doesn't take care of and then have a baby with him. So there were social contracts. There were checks and balances. We just went on ahead and ignored those. We just eradicated those in our community based on trends. What was trendy? What was popular? What was the new thing? Nobody chases trends better than black people. ALS challenge. Black folks didn't even know what ALS meant. And they was dumping buckets of water on their head. I'm not joking with you. They was dumping, but they didn't know what the ALS or whatever was, and they was dumping water on their head. So what we need to do is we as men, we're the trendsetters. Romy Peso, mute your mic, man. You still in? Romy Peso then called all the way in from Uganda to let his mic go off. Anyway, so basically, there were all these things that we just, Mike Dynas, can you mute his mic? But there were all these things that we used to do that we don't do anymore. And now, instead of setting a trend towards the recovery of those things, which you could do if we really wanted to do that, we could. We choose instead to follow the trend of divestment, red pill community. I'm okay with the red pill community. My only issue with it is most of the dudes there, they never really had, most of those dudes are not really red pill in their life. They're red pill on the internet. I have a brother who is strongly red pill, all the red pill talking points, women this, women that. He sleeps on my aunt's couch, freaking begs her to buy him food with food stamps. He's totally dependent on women. So he's angry.
Yeah.
And we got more of that. Not guys trying to better themselves like you said, but guys choosing to be subservient to women, choosing to let women punk them, and then just venting on the internet.
I mean, yeah. So there's the black manosphere is not a representative of every red pill space, but and Dynas knows a lot of us. Dudes like that will get roasted if they get found out. And we have mechanisms in place in order to actually root out folks like that. And even to a certain extent, like for instance, dudes get mad at me personally because women are going to be heard in the chat. And if they have a difference of opinion, I'll bring them up. And if dudes want to play the timeout game, then you guess who gets a moderator tab. And if they get mad, they just get mad, because so I get that. But addressing what you said about the trends thing, here's the thing. So let me give you an example of what a check and balance is. And I'm not saying what you said wasn't one, but let me give from my perspective. In the black community, when a black woman acts up, let's be clear. When a black woman acts up, the way what black men used to be able to do is black men could go to Big Mama or go to the elder women, and the elder women could,
Edward, if I can interject real quick. Sorry to interrupt you. Me and my friend were just talking about this the other day. I asked him, he got a divorce, and I asked him, were there any elders that were available to get involved to kind of mediate so you guys wouldn't get a divorce? And he was like, no. That's a huge problem. Go ahead.
Yeah, and so. And even in our community, women can be, really heavy-handed with female. Like they get real patriarchal on these chicks. Like little girls, shut up. I'm not advocating violence, but when a woman raises her hand to another female, they know that's a real threat. It ain't nothing they can do. They can't play the misogynist card. They can't do that. Women deal with each other. We used to be able to go to the elder women and said, okay, if the dudes are doing what they're supposed to be doing, like what y'all talked about, and he ain't beating on her, he's the breadwinner and all that, what are you talking about? What the chick is talking about. And see, in other groups, they have a whole bunch of women to do that. You find that the women fear more of the collective shaming. This is prevalent in Asian communities, but this is prevalent in other communities too. They fear more the collective shaming of women than they do the men. Because when men get involved, men are just going to change stuff over. Versus the women are usually what they're going to be dealing with more face to face. So my point is that was a way of controlling female behavior and checks and balances against females doing what they're doing, because women outside of the men had an invested interest of keeping the prestige of what their womanhood was as a collective. So their image. And so what you have now is you have a whole bunch of renegade women. I call it the rise of the Tokyo Tony grandmother. Like Solange, and this is not technically her fault, by the way, but Solange's son, she's about to be a 35-year-old grandmother. And so what that shows, that affects even the higher class.
That's why in fact, the 17-year-old got a 19-year-old pregnant. So that's like low-key statutory rape, ain't it?
Generally when you're under 21, it's like it depends on the state, it's rules for that, and you already know they're not gonna come at women like that. Not on that. But you people could make that argument, but the point is, this stuff is not separated by class either. That's another thing that's different between like the African communities and to a certain extent the Caribbean communities, but they're a little bit more closer to us, is there is no sense of really class in our community. You got the higher class, which is a level of patterns of behavior. So my point is, that's an example of a check and balance. Would mean we used to have the elder women to check these women if you were doing what you need to be doing. That is gone, and that has been systematically removed.
No,
And
but
hold on. And I will say this, just to, because I ain't trying to make it like it's all the men are right, all the women are wrong. Where the men messed up is men have never drew a serious line and said, if you're on that side, you don't get no protection, you don't get no provision. I would rather black men say we will overprotect and overprovide for the females that are on the team and established, and we ain't talking about looks necessarily, but established that they're on the team. And then the women that aren't, that are on some, I'm intersectional first. Intersectional, you're not in the black community. You're on some feminists on to kiss the white woman's ass, you're not in the black community.
I'm gonna push back on you because it wasn't that the big mama and all that got removed from the situation. It's because the simps, many of the simps who are now in the rep community, they're the ones who absolve women of their accountability for what they do in situations. I'll give you a prime example. You ever saw the movie The Color Purple, Dynast?
Yes. What are you talking about?
If you look at
back in the day, I don't remember it though. But
okay, remember Harpo, Daddy. Remember, who was it? Danny Glover, Daddy. He was telling him about how to treat his woman and stuff. Oh, you let that woman do this and do this and do that to you. And then Danny Glover was treating Celie bad, and then Celie was like, she just kind of she was submissive to Danny Glover. And then when Harpo came complaining about Oprah, she was like, hey, beat her ass if she act out, right? You got a lot of the dudes who are in the red pill are the same type of simps who was fighting over women. You couldn't say nothing to their woman or they'll try to fight you. They'll let their woman disrespect. Right. Wait a minute. Because we all lived in this too. We all been alive.
Well, my main issue with what you're saying is you're trying to use the red pill community as this.
No, I'm not using red pill. Listen,
the red pill community is only 10 years old.
Listen,
Go ahead. I'll let you finish.
The red pill community is only 10 years old, but these type of people have been around since eternity. You got the one dude who girl is acting crazy as hell. He not gonna say nothing to her. But if someone else says something to her, he gonna try to fight that person. It wasn't women who kept women in check back in the day. It was men who kept women in check, and women warned other women like, yo, you keep doing that, these men is gonna be in your ass. That's really what it was.
What do you mean be in your ass? I don't know what that means.
Okay, I'll give you a prime example.
You mean violence?
No, not even we have violence too.
Oh, so you're saying the problem is men are not violent with men like we used to be.
What I'm telling you is, back in the day, even when I was young, my grandmother, even whether it was, or my mom, whether it was women or men, boy or girl, you better not let your grandpa find out you was doing that, or let him catch you doing that. You better stop that before I tell your grandpa. Everybody was in fear of that patriarchal the patriarch. And then the wife, she would enforce his rules, and she would be like holding the standard for the children. It wasn't that she was the enforcer. He was ultimately, and she was kind of like, yo, I'm gonna tell you that or whatever. But what I'm telling you is this: what I'm saying, and this is my big thing with the red pill. You have the simps who are now complaining in the red pill, because I look at a lot of those dudes like those are the true simps. Because a man who's like complaining about a woman, it's like I see dudes out on the corner. Say I go outside, say I go to LA, go to Figueroa. I see pimps with 10 women. They all doing whatever he say. He ain't in the red pill. He's like, I'm running my stuff the way I run it. And if the woman's want to be down with me, she got to do it this way. And he's doing his thing. The idea of a man going to complain on the internet about a woman, that tells me that man don't know. He don't have no standard that he will not lower for a woman, because he's lowered his standard so much. Women have heard him, like they put him in a position to now where he's complaining about women.
No, okay. So I don't think. Okay. So first of all, I don't know what is this community you're talking about.
Explain to me what is the value of talking about what women gonna do or what they do. What does that? Where does that?
Okay, let me know when I can say something.
Okay, this is what I'm saying, bro.
Because I can answer your question.
No, listen. You just sat here for 30 minutes and complained about women.
I did not complain. Oh, time out. I did not complain about women. You see, number one, I came into this by way of the pro-black community. And let's be clear here, before the red, and Dynast can actually attest to it. Dynast knows me. So he knows what I talk about. He knows what I'm about, So straight up. So let's start there. Number one, I came into the red pill community because I need to understand, my favorite person is Dr. Claude Anderson, by the way. So what is it about black people as to why black people can't work together in the necessary ways of actually moving these things forward? Because what I see is just a recurring loop of folks talking and in the same stuff, voting for the Democrats, talking about what we need to be doing, all this other stuff, and ain't nothing happening.
We don't vote for Democrats.
I didn't say this ain't. Hold on. You keep on.
Let me ask you a question.
Let him finish.
No, I want to ask him a question.
No, you can. Let me answer this one. So most of us, and this is true for, I ain't trying to bring names into it, but this is true for O'Shea Jackson, who has moved on from the manosphere, just to be fair to what he said. And this is true for a lot of us. We came to understand why is it that you got 20, 30 years of people talk about pro-black stuff. And it ain't just pro-black. The black church is failed. Don't get me started on that. And things are not moving. What we've come to understand is it's not just about economics. It's a culture issue. So every time you keep saying that I'm complaining about women, I got videos talking about some of the very things you're talking about, how dudes don't draw any lines. I have this series called What Do Black Women Need to Do for Black Men to Not Forgive Them? And what that is about is it's really about saying, what standards do black men have? And then when black men play the game of, well, we got to deal with what we got to deal with because we got to keep it black, I'm like, cool, I can understand that. So what about intercultural dating? What is that? Well, you can date Caribbeans, you can date Africans, you can date African Americans that have a thing. There's a whole diaspora. And so then we come back to the 80s, not 80s thing where dudes want to keep it 80s. And I say, so what is it about black culture that you're actually trying to preserve, like African American culture specifically? They don't even know. So my point is, it's not even about the dudes. Everything we do in the manosphere is how black men respond to it. They do, as what's called would say, inappropriate responses. A lot of the very things you talk about with drawing the lines and doing all that, they don't want to do because they don't want to be perceived as a coon. They don't want to be perceived as, they hopping the fence, so they're betraying the race. And so we do that. You're perceiving that as we're, quote unquote, complaining about women. Because that's the only way you can filter that through. That's not really my problem.
The only question that needs to be asked is this. I'm married for 14 years. I don't know if you're married.
No, I'm not.
Okay, you guys are not married. What
Oh,
it,
I'm
what
not you guys, dude. Hold on.
okay,
If I
wait a
hold on,
minute.
hold on.
Calm
You said
down,
you
bro.
guys. You said you guys.
Calm down, bro.
If
I
you,
just said you
I'm gonna
guys
make this
aren't
quick
married.
statement. If you want me to put together a panel of nothing but black men that are married in the manosphere, I can do that for you. If you must need that,
Totally fine.
Dudes that are married for like 30 years. Go
Okay,
ahead.
let me get my question out. What is the married guy doing that separates him? What am I doing differently from what you guys are doing to where I'm married and you guys are not married? And then everybody takes like I like Fitzgerald was very honest. African I forgot his name on here, but he was very honest. I don't believe everybody is being honest about what they're doing. Because if you are honest about what you're doing, you will, another man, 9 times out of 10, will be able to identify a man who's been married for a while. He'll kind of be able to identify where you might have been making a mistake at to where what happened you happened, and then it end up kind of, killing your relationships. And that's the same thing we ask women to do. We ask women to be honest about what they're doing, go consult other women, and go get educated or go get counseled about what they're doing. But in our culture, we have a very secretive culture. We don't like to tell people what's going on with us until it's too late. And that's why we are where we are. Big Mama can't correct nobody if everybody trying to hide shit. And there are men who do that, women who do that, and there are men and women who are married who do that. Hide shit, and then it fall apart, and everybody's like, what happened? And you guys all know that that's true. We got to be open with what's going on to fix the problem.
Hey, real quick, we got Mika on. Go ahead, Mika.
Hey, Diana. So hope you guys are good. I kind of agree with some of what Brandon has been saying. So I've been following some of the content creators on the manosphere, and I find that they're very toxic and they're perpetuating this sort of victim mentality. So they pretend that they're masculine dudes, but I really see emotional guys who, instead of really bringing solutions, they're pinning all their problems on women. They sound like victims and are very defensive. And yeah, like they've been hurt and emotional. Like that's I guess my generalization of
So,
what
so,
the
what,
it's
so, what content creators are these?
um well, I guess Kevin Samuels, yeah, so like Tommy, whatever, so Tomer, and I've been coming
I
across them.
don't
I
like
can't really
Tommy.
name. I can't. Okay, so anyway, my point is, I feel like the manosphere is like the opposite of feminism. You know how feminism created a victim complex in women. It takes away accountability. As a woman, you need to be accountable for yourself, for your decisions, and basically for your destiny. And it's the same thing with men. So I think sitting on these online forums and complaining about women and talking about all the things women don't do doesn't really showcase masculinity. That's why in Africa, I think men talk less, and we really respect men for their word. So that's kind of what my impression. But also, if I look at the American culture, I think for me, I've got a problem with the American dating culture. I don't think it builds solid marriage, solid community. I think the dating culture is very dysfunctional. One, I feel like women has really dropped their. It seems like they've dropped their standards or moral values to a point that women are not really being appreciated. Because I see a lot of bashing of Black American women in these forums as well. So I think diverting from traditional principles, simple principles like save yourself for marriage, value your virginity, and all these things. I think the dating culture has really compromised that. And also for men as well, like I've run into a few guys just interacting. They've got all these different kids by all these different mothers. I don't think that will build, I think that creates more poverty. It won't build generational wealth if you have to spread your little income on supporting all these different kids by different mothers. So I think for me, marriage is the strongest foundation for community building, even in Africa. So if a man hasn't paid your bride price, don't be dating him, don't move in with him, don't be having sex with him. Create those boundaries. Let him earn that. And so as a woman, if you allow a man to earn that, then I think he has more value for you. Same thing as a man. A woman has to earn your trust. You can't be just, talking anyhow. You've got nothing going on. All you do is complain. You're sitting on your couch, on your mother's couch or whatever. And then you want someone to submit to you. A woman needs to know that you can protect her, you can provide for her, you've got her back. Then she'll submit to you
So,
and she'll do what you want.
so here's the thing. So let me ask you this. in these African countries, is it fair to say that the men control the environment legally, up and down,
Well, you
whether
can
it's
say that.
tribal, whatever, or do they
Well, you
got
can say
like?
that
Go ahead.
the
Sorry.
African culture is set up in such a way that yes, men are seen as leaders, as the authority, and so on. We also have matriarchal, like I don't know if I can say matriarchy societies, but still, in other words, we're not opposed to patriarchy. Let me put it that way. So whether it's matriarchy or patriarchy, we're not opposed to the concept that a man should be in charge. That's what I
So,
mean. Yeah.
so I have a question. So, do African women have the ability, like, China's big in Africa, and I'm not going to go deeper into that. Do African women have the ability to use Chinese power to override the men at a collective group in any of those countries, even where China is really present?
What do you mean Chinese power?
So let me give you an example. In America, in America, black men have to always account for a black female can always use the white man to override them. They can use this with physical force with the police. They can use this in a political force in a variety of contexts. And just to take it out of black women, what you see in the Western world, because this is not just something in the black community. In the Western world, what you see is corporations have teamed up with, because a lot of this feminism is promoted because it puts women in a position in order to be hyper consumers and hyper spenders. The system in the West does not want marriage because they understand that to break up the nuclear family, it puts women in states where they can get a lot of revenue out of females. This is why women are promoted in certain jobs. Women operate as a de facto buffer class. Even the white manosphere is 10 times larger than the black manosphere. And even white dudes are starting to see this with their own collective power, where the women are being used as a buffer. So that way they can't deal with the higher percentage of men, like the 1% or the top 10%, because they operate in a buffer class. And the thing about the black community, we have less cultural protections because we have the crack era. We have various things where our stuff has actually been attacked. Then you have academia. Then you have which is intersectionality, all this. You have the women. The majority of women are actually at war. And let me tell you how bad it is. Let's take the men out. You have women that if women speak on some, there's black men that need to work on some things, but there are good black men out there. You have women that would literally call them mammies. You have women that literally call them pick-me's. You have women that will literally be attacked. We're talking about black women that show their face, that are married to black men. They will be attacked viciously by other women. And then you have dudes that don't say nothing because in their mind, it ain't their business. So my point is, like, my point is this. Again, you can have your opinion, but a lot of your stuff misses a lot of cultural content. You're taking African stuff and like applying it to an environment that it's like me trying to take me being African American and apply that to the Middle East. It just doesn't
Wait,
work.
no,
And
I'm
I
speaking
respect
about.
your opinion from that. I just wanted to add that. Yeah.
Fair enough. Like I'm speaking about my observation in how, like, as a look at me as a neutral party, like, and I'm observing how you're interacting as a community, having followed the manosphere. So this is how it comes across, right? So I've understood that feminism is being promoted. It's an ideology to bring down whatever the patriarchy and all these other things. But I feel like how different is the manosphere from because feminism creates victims out of women. I feel like the manosphere is creating victims out of men. I don't see those two things as.
Well,
I just
Mika,
think the manosphere is a response.
well,
Like,
Mika,
how is it a solution?
Mika, your problem is that you're looking at it's like saying Michael Jordan is basketball. Yeah, he's a big face, but he was from something like Tommy Sotomayor. I get Tommy Sotomayor is bigger, and for somebody just seeing it, I get it. I know how the algorithm works, so I'm not faulting you for that. You don't. That's what you see, and you got to make a judgment on what you see. I respect that, but the reality is Tommy Sotomayor, there, and he does have his fans. I've told people on my channel personally that if you fuck with Tommy Sotomayor, you do not fuck with me and get off my channel. You have no idea
What
how hard
about
it is.
Kevin Samuel?
Yeah, well, yes, like Kevin Samuels is actually taking points that I've said, like that point about finding another store. So yes, I do. My question is, what's your issue with Kevin? Let's go with Kevin.
Wait, Mika, where's Mika from? Mika,
Hold
where
on,
you
hold on, hold
from?
on. We're not doing. I don't even care because we know she's African, so we don't need to get more.
No,
specific.
you have to have the context, brother.
I just wanted to because I know it was back and forth. But the whole thing about Mika, she's not wrong. Like what she's saying, it doesn't matter where she's from. It doesn't matter anything. What she's doing is giving a model that works. And what we're doing is shooting it down, saying that's different because the white man.
Well,
The white man. Well, hold
Yeah,
on,
but Brandon, that's
Can I
disingenuous.
finish my point?
it is.
I am married. I've been married for 14 years.
But what does that
I'm
mean?
divorced. So what?
Okay. The white man is not working to destroy black relationships. What's destroying black if we're honest? Okay, gas them up. You're married. Why'd you get divorced? I'll tell you anything you want to know about me. You're married. Why did you get divorced?
Didn't work out.
So
why didn't it work out?
Well, that's not even the point.
No, stop, Edward, stop. That is the point. Because the point is, you niggas love secrets. Bitches love secrets. Men who love secrets are like bitches. They want to hide what they did and why their stuff fell apart.
These are pseudo attacks on masculinity. That's what you're doing.
Please stop.
Okay, so
let me finish my point. It's not an attack. I'm a man. I'm a masculine man. I don't hide shit because I'm a man. If I fuck something up,
that's like you.
Hold on, bro.
Please.
Like Fitzgerald, he said, "Look, it was my fault. I fucked my marriage up." He identified the role he played. That's what men do. But if you're gonna be secretive, don't get in my face talking to me about shit if you're not ready to tell me everything that you did to destroy your marriage.
But that has nothing. Okay, so
it has nothing to do with the message, Brandon.
Time out. This is what we're doing here.
The white man.
You don't. But first of all, so let me say this: there ain't nobody. First of all, that's what pro blacks do, and that's one thing. Red pill.
Edward never said anything about the white man.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
He never said that.
No.
Oh my God.
Hold on. I'm about to repeat what I said. What I said. So what you're essentially saying, Brandon, is you're essentially saying that there's no such thing as systematic racism. Is that your opinion?
I never said that.
Okay, so what hold on. I didn't say nothing about my relationship. What I said was that in the black community,
it's the white man.
I get it. I mean, for real. So it's the white man. Look, dude, racism either exists or it doesn't exist. Like, seriously. So you're telling me
racism didn't break up your relationship.
Dude, we're not. Why are you? I haven't said anything about my relationship.
Racism has nothing to do with this conversation.
So you're saying, okay, so let me ask you this question. Is the black community a patriarchy?
Why don't you have a wife? Do you not have a job? Do you have a little dick? Well, tell me why you're not married.
No, Edward, don't get into this because this is what Brandon does. These are deflections. These are deflections.
Why did you get divorced?
Edward, what he's doing he's trying to reduce. He's trying to see. Edward, don't fall for this. Listen, I've debated with these people. What they'll do, these are the typical type of people, right? They'll come and say, "Do you beat your wife on the stand or something like that?" These games are old.
Gas. I don't know you, so
you can ask me any question.
You know,
hold on. Any question Brandon, about my marriage, I'll answer it honestly to you
Brandon,
right now.
You know what's interesting? I listened to a little bit of what you were saying on Dynasty.
And I love you too.
Hold on. And I actually like some of the stuff you're saying. You know what people told me about you? They said, don't talk to that nigga. I said, why? What's up? Because I like what I'm seeing so far. He said, because that nigga, you said you don't like Tommy Sotomayor, and that nigga has a lot of Tommy Sotomayor tendencies. You don't know me. Yeah, you sitting here saying, why am I not married? Nigga, the goal in life is not necessarily to be married. Like, my manhood is not predicated on am I married or am I not married. Like, Dynas got the mute up. Dynas Amir, it wasn't Dynas Amir once he got married. Like, this idea that this is the same attacks they're pulling on Cam right now today. They're saying, well, you got married to a stripper and you did this and you did that. So you have no right to say what you want a woman to be. That's literally what you got.
I think you guys are really missing the point.
No, hold on. The point is what Brandon is essentially saying is every black man were to work himself up to get married, then the community would be better. Here's the problem with that.
It was.
That's not what he's saying.
Hold on. Even if I agree with that, and he just said that, so he does agree. So even if I give you that, which I'm not saying I disagree, we have verifiable evidence that I got a question. Do you think black men want to be married? Fuck the red pill. Do you think black men want to be married more, or do you think black women want to be married more? in your opinion?
I think black men want to be married more.
Okay, so regardless, so why do you think that is?
Because we want to reproduce with
Well, no,
the woman we want.
let me rephrase the question. And so why do you think so if black men want to be married more, do you believe that it is a situation where black men are not man enough to be married, and this is why black men want to be married more than the women? So the women are perfect. So if there's a standard, let's say there's a standard of what masculinity is as far as economics, I call it currencies: genetic currency, economic currency, social currency, that if a man meets that standard, regardless of what we say it is, there should be no problem with them finding a ADOS black wife. Or, and there is some truth to that. Or is it that no matter what that standard is, you have a certain percentage of women, they're always going to move the goalposts because fundamentally they see marriage as patriarchal, they see marriage as controlling, they see marriage as a control mechanism they don't like.
Women are like, have you ever been in a field? Have you ever been on a farm and you saw a bunch of like strawberries or oranges, and you just go up and you pluck one off? That's women. That's how easy women are to get.
Really?
Easily.
So what?
Okay, Brandon, that's great. They're easy.
Gas, hold on. We're going somewhere.
Edward,
hold on, Gaz. We're going somewhere. I appreciate it. So my question.
No, because I want to ask Mika some questions, but go ahead, man.
Yeah, and you can, because I'm gonna hop off in a little bit. But my thing is, what percentage? Because we're not talking about women. Because when you start expanding women, now you talk about Latino, white, hell, you talking about intercultural. See, that's a different argument. I'm talking
about black women. Black women are easy to get.
Okay, so what? Go get and marry, two different things. What percentage?
You can marry them.
What percentage? So we just established that men want to get married more. What percentage of black women, in your opinion, would you say are marriage material?
Depending on the person.
No, and let me tell you why. Because the flip side, dudes will be like
100%. So depending on the man.
So you said 100% of black women are marriage material.
Yes, they are.
So a woman that has a sexually transmitted disease
is that's something that can be fixed. That's something that can be fixed.
You're saying so basically what you're essentially saying is there is no standard. Like men shouldn't even have standard. If you're saying
you're too focused on what women should be doing, and really you should be focusing on bettering yourself, because when you do that, you attract a woman that.
Okay,
no, hold on,
Edward, can I ask Mika some questions?
One thing, and then I am done, because
I got to ask me a question.
I got answer I needed. Here's my thing. Yes, should black men work on themselves? Absolutely. This idea that the red pill is anti that is bullshit. What we basically say is you work on yourself and you deal with the women you deal with. Technically, SYSBM is not even in the black manosphere. It's its own thing. But they're actually more pro-marriage. They just preach not having this racial loyalty. I come in the middle and say you have intercultural dating. For my opinion, only 20% of black women are actually at this point of marriage material for various reasons. And then that's reflected in the numbers of the women that are already married. So my point is,
Edward?
You have African-American women that you pull from that are marriage material. And when I say marriage material, what do I mean? There is one metric to me above all else: cooperative. This idea that you got women that are cooperative for the right man. Let's go with that. Hold on, Tom. You know what? I'm gonna say this, and then I'll let you get the last word, Brandon. Let's say you're right with the 100% of women are marriage material. So on my channel, I've been having this thing where I say that if women are going to be more cooperative with white men because white men are just better, then it is my opinion that the black manosphere should celebrate black women dating out. If that's what they need to do to be happy, because it's a lot of black men that are not on point, then they need to go and do that. Because here's why. If they do that, then it's going to be very obvious that the men are less than. Why don't they do that? Because they understand that women have this moral loyalty. That's a myth, but this moral thing that they try to hold on black men. And if black women start dating white men in big numbers, assuming those white men are going to pick them, because you got black femininity coaches that are quitting left and right, then black men are not going to feel the need to be as loyal. And that's a big reason why women feel this pressure. So if the women are all on point and it's really that the men are effed up, then let the market be what the market is and let people just go where they need to go. You know, the women, by definition, even if you take white men off the table, the women to where these Africans, I've seen Dynasty do videos shopping, showing like different African men for black women, where there's a whole bunch of Africans, there's a whole bunch of Caribbeans, there's a pool of dudes that are the men that women need. So my question is, and by the way, black women have more passports than black men. By the way, so where are these women actually going to get the men that they need if they really want to be married or ready to be married?
They're not never gonna get them. They're never gonna get them. Black men have to understand something. Men set the standard. All the things that women are doing, black, white, green, or blue, are things that men said this is important. Women are going.
You sound like a manipulated man.
Okay, women are going to college because men said, "Hey, go to college, get an education, you get a good job." Women are in the workforce because men said, "Hey, we want to go fight a war and send all the men to fight. So now we need women to come and work to build bombs and airplanes and all that."
So feminism. So you think men created feminism?
Yeah, we did create feminism.
So
they did create it. The Rockefellers.
So black men created feminism.
Listen,
no, bro, white men created it.
You just moved the goalposts. You said, did men create feminism? Yes, they
but
did.
Edward, can I ask Mika my question?
The problem is we're talking about black people, and now see. By the way, you said that there is no non-black factor to influence black culture, but now men created feminism, which we know are white men that don't know are black.
Mika.
Let me just say this one thing, gas them up. I'm not gonna say nothing else. White men created feminism. Black men did create a form of feminism because we pretty much abandoned our families and left women to, wait a minute. We abandoned our families and left women to raise our sons. And now our sons grow up looking at women as the head of our community.
Well, about what decade did black men abandon their families?
That's probably like the 70s, 80s. And I'm not saying there was different reasons why black men abandoned the family, but what I'm saying is we left our families because we didn't create a strong enough community, right? We were more worried about establishing political parties and shit than securing the economic foundation that we needed to. We wanted acceptance from whites. And that left us wide open for whatever.
Black men are the
That's what civil rights was.
Black men are the majority of stepfathers in the 90s let's be clear what happened. The 80s came, women basically went for all the D-boys, they got locked up, and black men activated the black stepdaddy insurance program in the 90s.
But there weren't enough stepdads for all those children.
The fact that you actually, well, they're not, because they were having that many kids of that many niggas that were getting like, the fact that you actually stated that black men abandoned the family.
Okay, why did my dad go to jail? My dad's in jail for life. My dad been in jail since I was young, 10 years old.
So that's qualified as abandoning the family?
No, listen. Why did he go to jail? The white man forced him to go to jail? No, he wanted to be a gang member. He wanted to he wanted to go deal drugs. My grandma worked. She retired. His dad works. He retired. Everybody in our family was working, retiring, hardworking folks. My dad wanted to go do degeneracy. Therefore, he went to prison and wasn't there for his son. That's the white man's fault.
So, by the way, a lot of there's more, the red pill leans more conservative. So they're more about law and order, even more so than I would like. The thing about it is the pro-blacks are generally where the reformed criminals come from. And usually they're coming from this gynocentric BS telling dudes that don't have kids, they need to come back in the community and clean it up. My thing is this, like I said about the social con, I'm going to end how I started, because this is a very simple thing. Checks and balances, social contract. When dudes say that men need to check women, I asked you how, and you started talking about the violence thing. And my thing is, I'm not going to jail for no chick. If it gets to the point where that needs to happen, then dudes need to leave. This is the problem with Will Smith right now. You got to do, and when I say that, I'm not talking about leaving marriages. Let's be clear. I'm talking about what the dude said about you get in a marriage is too late. I can agree with that to a certain extent. What I'm talking about is you have a situation where men, even if I could verifiably show you dudes that are six figures, all this other stuff, doing what they need to be doing, they are going to be seen as weak and inept if they choose to deal with other women. And dudes are very consistent as to what their standards are, and everybody wants to call them complaints. Like even what she said with Kevin Samuels. Like, and I unfortunately, I would love for some of y'all to come on my stuff. I would love to have a deeper conversation about this on my channel. But my thing is, when you start saying you don't like Kevin Samuels, I'm not saying you
You
have to.
asked me to
But
give
hold
you
on.
some names.
But Kevin Sam, you did. But that tells me, because Dynas knows who BGS Igmore is. He knows the type of people I rock with.
It's not a dislike. I just don't agree with his views.
Mika,
That the
what
views that he
country in
presents.
Africa are you from, Mika?
So let me hold on one thing. Let me give me one thing.
Edward, you said that. Go ahead, brother.
I promise, and you have been respectful.
Oh my
I know.
God.
Give me one thing you disagree about what Kevin Samuel says.
Brother, can I ask her the question of
And
where
then-
she's
and
from
then
before she? No, wait. Before you get into that, Mika, where in Africa are you from, please?
I want to know, how is that important though? I can tell you, but how is that important?
Because it's important, because a lot of times Africans come on these African American platforms and present images that are not accurate. When you go into the local cities, it's not accurate. So please, where in Africa are you from?
It's important because Brandon says we shouldn't keep secrets.
That's right.
And we're just asking you a country.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to tell her.
So this is a Pan-African forum, right? Obviously, I'm Zambian, but I just feel like FBAs, quote unquote, have a habit of playing these tricks.
Okay, good. So you're from Zambia. So are you telling me? No. I'm from where they call Nigeria, right? Are you telling me that in Zambia right now? Are you telling me in Zambia right now that they are not in the cities of Zambia, that there's not existing the breakdown of the family structure where young girls are prostituting themselves because of economic situations, and that everything is just perfect, and the Zambian man is this manly man who just sits there stoic? He doesn't have any complaints. Is that what you're telling me?
Well, when you make that kind of generalization, obviously it's not going to be true. But what I'm saying is that the divorce rate and the dysfunctions.
But you did generalize. You said that the African man.
Let her answer.
I'm done with you guys. Seriously, I'm trying to tell you that the divorce rate and the dysfunctions you're speaking of are much lower. Why? Because the community holds you to a higher account. Don't forget that we come from a culture where if a woman got pregnant, she didn't know who the father is, she was going to be taken outside the village and stoned. So even though that's not practiced anymore in the way that you're speaking, there's a mindset that's carried over that stigmatizes certain behaviors. So those behaviors do exist, but they're just not normalized, is what I'm trying to say.
I'm assuming you're a Christian, right, Mika?
Of course, I'm Christian.
Okay, good. So now, I would argue, but I'm not Zambian, so I'm not going to argue blindly. But from the research I've done in Africa, we didn't have this Christian morality of stoning our women. That's nowhere near in any African culture that I've studied. But I haven't studied Zambia, so perhaps in Zambia they stone their women. I would be hard pressed to believe it, but I won't fight you on that one. What I want to say to you, Mika, is this. A lot of times, you see, when you're watching Kevin Samuels, there's a context that's there. Now, if a man is having an issue or these men are making complaints, no one is saying that, oh, these men who are living at home with their mothers have any right to insult women. No, I don't support any of that. I don't think anyone supports that. Some do. But I think before people are dismissed, right? Before people are dismissed, you should try to take the time to understand where they're coming from. You just said the community holds them to a higher standard. And Edward was trying to explain, which Brandon somewhat dismissed, somewhat acknowledged, is trying to explain that those community standards have been evaporated. They've been diminished.
Exactly. That's the same point I'm making.
Okay.
That's the exact same point I'm making. Is that you have to create a certain moral code.
Well, my thing.
Can you ask me what my problem with Kevin Samuels is?
Well, I want no, you can, but I want to ask Mika first. Like, what is the issue? I ain't about the problem. She said she don't like some of the points. And by the way, Tommy Sotomayor also is not on some. There is not a single person in the manosphere that's giving a platform or a panel to folks that are quote unquote living with their mothers.
You asked me a question. I told you that
I'm making a statement. Now I'm asking you this question.
You had like a whole hour to make your statement.
What is an issue?
And now I feel like you're distorting what I said.
I'm not even. That's what I'm asking you now. What is an issue that you have with Kevin Samuel's talking points?
I think you're over personalizing it. What I'm trying to say is that
I'm asking you a simple question.
Give me a chance to say what I'm saying though. What I'm trying to say is that the manosphere, I don't see a huge difference. between the rhetoric in the feminist community and what I
Okay,
see
we
in the
don't know what you're
manosphere.
talking about
And
on
what,
that front, but that's
look, are you
okay.
gonna let me speak? Are you gonna? I'm saying I
No,
don't see
you're
a difference
preaching.
between the rhetoric I see in the manosphere and in the feminist circles. A lot of it is based off victimhood and refusing accountability. So you asked me which people in the manosphere. I said it's a whole lot of them that I've seen, but the ones I could think of right now is Tommy Sotomayor and Kevin Samuels, because those are the ones that are trending.
The
So try to personalize
reason
it like,
why
oh, I
that
hate
no,
Kevin Samuels, I
I
hate
didn't say
Tommy.
that.
I think
I
that's
didn't say
ridiculous.
that. The reason why I'm saying that,
Oh
and
my
I will
God,
ask you that question, but the reason why I'm saying that
crazy.
is because the reality is every time I ask people, what are you seeing? So I can actually go and see what was seen or the person you're talking about, nobody can name nothing. These people are these faceless people. If I say certain people are saying
I
Well,
certain
let
name
me
things,
But
say,
hold
Edward,
on,
I think what
okay.
happens is
Hold
let
on.
me,
So I'm gonna ask Brandon. So Brandon,
let,
what is a
let,
talking point that you have an
you
issue
need
with
to do
Kevin
more
Samuels?
listening,
well,
Edward.
here's
You
a
really need to do more listening.
I'm gonna
No,
answer
I'm
your
just not
question.
gonna let you preach to
Wait,
me.
wait,
There's a
wait.
difference.
Look.
Go
No,
ahead.
you're preaching a little bit too much yourself.
Hold on, Mika. Hold on. Listen, I'm gonna give you your answer. There's two things, Kevin Samuels.
Cool.
One, Kevin Samuels equates everything to how much money somebody makes. If he thinks
Exactly.
women go for money, he's wrong.
We
He's
don't.
100. Women value
You don't speak for
charisma.
African American women.
Listen. Even
We don't.
African American women. What is the number one thing women value? African American women, charisma. Women, African American women will cheat on a billionaire with a dude who is dancing for coins at Venice Beach because he has charisma. That's what Black African American women value the most. A woman who is married
I agree.
will say, I cheated on my man because I was bored. He could take care of everything. She gets bored, she's taking dick from
You realize
Pookie
you're
or
proving
whoever.
my point.
No,
No,
Brandon.
listen,
so
wait. Hold on, wait. We talk about African American women. Wait, Mika. Here's the thing. So listen, Edward, I'm proving your point right, but I'm saying this is where Kevin Samuels is wrong at. Kevin Samuels had a problem with women because he's boring. His show was boring until O'Shea helped him fix it and get it to where it was entertaining. Okay? He's boring. That's why he has problems with women. No woman want to sit up with it. If I was a woman, I couldn't even imagine being in a room with that dude for
So,
more than 5 minutes.
okay, so Brandon, he's boring,
Wait,
right? But
wait a minute.
Edward, please, you've been
Can
dominating.
you
I think other
please?
people need to
Can
talk.
you
Go ahead, Brandon.
wait? Let me finish my point. Okay. Two, with Kevin Samuels, there's no proof of concept. He hasn't produced a relationship that's successful based on the principles or values and the lessons that he's given to everybody else. A lot of
Facts.
marriage
that's
counselors
not true.
are
Go ahead.
okay.
Facts.
A lot of is he married? No.
No,
But
you
people,
said he had
Edward, can somebody else
wait,
direct, because you've been
Hold on. He's not married. That's the standard, right? Because I love Kevin Samuels.
He was
I
married
love the fact.
twice.
Yes, listen, bro. I love the fact that he encourages Black people to get married. He's about that family. I love that. Whether there's people who've been married 4 and 10 times, if he's finally figured it out, getting married again and making it last should be very simple for him. So he could teach. He's talking about how to get a woman or how to attract a woman, but he's not talking about everything that is entailed with making that a productive relationship for the long haul. The one thing I want to say is this. This is y'all problem. Y'all talk too much. When I talk to a woman, say I'm arguing with Mika, I listen to what she's saying. Then I say, damn, despite the BS, the generalization she might say, I say, damn, she got values. She's about this, she's about that. In my mind, halfway through the conversation, I'm plotting on her. Like, how am I going to ask her to give me her contact so I can hit her up? Because she didn't talk to all this stuff. Now I'm going to be the dude to make her back it up by being like, yo, let's go have lunch. Let's start dating, right? Y'all be
okay. So
worried
Brandon,
about y'all be so worried about
Jesus Christ,
arguing with the females.
no
Y'all passing up
arguing with them, man.
not you, but the point I'm saying is we be so concerned with arguing with the females, we be missing out on the good females who actually have the qualities that we claim we want. Because if Mika talks about old values and being submissive and all that stuff, well, that means she should uphold those standards if we get in a relationship. So that's the one you should be trying to talk to versus the one you want, the thotty one who ain't gonna do none of the stuff you say you need a woman to do. I think that's the problem with men. We talk
So
too much.
Edward, get Mika's email and try to holler her, fly to Zambia,
Yes.
and try to get the Black Marriage Dynast to officiate the wedding. Okay,
Well,
so
God,
but
Dynasty
please.
yeah.
officiate the wedding.
Well, is that
Pay
not
her
what
bride price.
intercultural dating
But
is?
yes,
So
great.
Well,
But
you know
here's
what?
my
I think
thing.
you got them
Eh,
up. I think that intercultural dating won't even work if I look at African Americans, men projecting these ideas about Black American women, they're this, they're that. I feel you're going to run into some of the same things in these other women. That's what I'm saying. It's always about internal reflection first. Because like, when I was back in college in Australia, like, my best friend was a Black American girl, and I learned a lot of principles from her. Like,
Well, that's
and
the
you're saying that I'm
problem.
supposed to.
That you just
well,
shut
Edward,
everything
hold
down
on,
with that.
No,
Edward, chill out,
what
please.
I'm
Edward,
saying is that
can
this
she
girl, the
lied to
reason we
you.
could actually be friends is because she was a girl that had very strong moral values, very strong principles, and I respected that in her to the point that we actually became best friends. It didn't start off very good at first, but I think after we got to know each other, it's like, oh,
That's
okay,
why.
cool, yeah, cool.
That's because I
okay,
was.
So
so wait, Mika,
it
wait, can
surprises me when I hear these stereotypical presentations about Black American women,
How
because the
do
ones
you?
I've met,
Mika,
How do you?
I'm not saying anything. Edward, please just give me a second, because you had the mic.
Yeah, all right.
I'm not saying anything about African American women or whatever. What I'm trying to do is actually talk to the men and counter what Brandon likes to do. For all the men in the chat, people who type, oh, those Nigerians are simp and all this other nonsense. This is what I don't understand, right? It's so funny. I always notice this. Whenever these men get on here and they get these talking points, these women write this stuff and they're like, yes, I love men like that. It's all part of the game. That's why I'm going to say it again. If you're a man and you don't want to be manipulated, go and read the book, The Manipulated Man by Esther Villar, or you can read the book by the great Pan-Africanist Chinweizu, who wrote The Anatomy of Female Power. See, the problem is that if you are a man claiming that you want to be so-called red pill and free of women, then you shouldn't let any woman define your masculinity. And that's the first thing Mika did when she came in here. She tried to set the standard for masculinity. That's what all the women in the chat are doing.
But
And Brandon,
but
yeah,
she
go ahead,
couldn't
Brandon.
but she couldn't because I'm here. I'm a gatekeep
Okay,
masculinity.
no,
Wait,
no, you ain't
listen.
the gatekeeper of
No,
masculinity
listen.
because
What I'm
but you
masculinity,
saying
guys
hold
are
on,
doing
let
the
me finish my
same
statement.
thing.
wait,
Masculinity is
Justin, you
defined
didn't let
by
me
the
finish my
man.
statement. You didn't let
I
me
didn't
finish my
finish.
statement.
I was, go ahead, go ahead.
Listen. When you got to do like me on here and you got to do like Dynas, there's already two gatekeepers for masculinity. So we're not going to let Mika say nothing that goes at masculinity or anything like that. I'm not going
But
to get
she
on here.
did, and you went along with it.
No,
No, wait, you guys are
no.
doing the same thing. So I'm going
Look,
to ask you a
wait,
question. Each one of
hold
you,
on, Mika, hold
I've got
on.
a
If
question that
you
I
look,
want each one of you to answer.
okay, look, if you look in the back chat and you guys can confirm what I wrote when she first started talking, I said she's just generalizing because she isn't super familiar with the community, which she already admitted. I wrote that immediately when she started talking so I could let you guys know that I'm listening to what she's saying and I'm watching to make sure that she's not going too far, but she is speaking from a place of, no offense, relative ignorance when it comes to the red pill community. She's speaking based on what she's seen. She has an opinion. She has a
Well,
right to that. That was not an attack on
Well,
masculinity.
Okay, well,
Brandon.
go ahead,
Well,
Mika.
hold
Mika,
on,
you had
yes,
hold on,
yes,
Edward.
real quick.
Mika had a question. Let's let the lady go for ma'am. What was your question, Mika?
Yes, because I feel like you guys are doing the same thing you're accusing probably me and other women of doing. So I have one question. I want to ask you, what do women want the most? And I want each of you to give me an answer.
Okay, can I answer that? Who
Yes.
cares? If you're a
No,
man,
there's
I'm
only
answering
one.
the question. I'm answering your question, Mika. If you're a
You're
man
not
listening to
just
this,
enough.
I want to
Okay,
answer it.
just
Please, can I answer
cooperate
it?
with me. Just in
Mika,
your
let me answer
opinion.
the question.
In your
Mika, can I
opinion.
answer your question? I want to
Okay.
tell you. I'm going to answer the question. If you're a man on the chat and any woman says, "What is it that I want as a woman?" Why do
Oh,
you
come
care?
on now.
Let
Come
me
on now.
finish,
You're
Mika.
really
Mika, you see now you're
personalizing
being
it.
Mika. Now you're
Mika,
being. I didn't personalize envy. Mika, I didn't cut you off. So let me say my piece. Brandon will speak, and then the rest will answer your question. The question is, what do women want? Again, gentlemen, Freud, who's arguably one of the best minds in terms of studying the subconscious, the id, the ego, whatever critics you have, Freud himself said, who knows what a woman wants? So at the end of the day, men, if you are sitting down there, waking up, trying to figure out what she wants, you have lost your masculinity. I always say it.
No.
Shaka, Mika, please don't interrupt me. Shaka Zulu never went crazy trying to get his wife a Brazilian hair or a Birkin bag. You set the standard for masculinity. Now, am I saying you shouldn't take care of your children? You shouldn't have a household? You shouldn't get life insurance? No, I'm not saying any of that. But what I am saying is that if you claim to be red pill masculine, if that's what men are claiming to be, who cares what she thinks? As long as you provide food, get some food, do your best, and enjoy your life. That's what the masculinist perspective should be. Not what Mika comes on here and says, not what the women in the chat say, because that's what all the men are doing. They are really pandering and catering. So you have one group, you have like the Edwards who are this red pill, coming combative. Then you have the Brandons who are coming and saying what the women want to hear. And they say, oh, I love the Brandons. It's all a game. Stop falling for it. Do what you want to do and make your money. I'm done.
Wait, you gotta
What I'm
let
trying to
everybody
say is that
answer.
it's not
Mika,
that
you gotta let
complicated. It's
everybody.
really
Mika,
simple.
It was really an honest
Mika,
question.
you gotta let everybody answer the question.
Brandon already established.
Okay, fine. Answer it, because
Brandon already established with African American women that charisma.
no, women in general.
Well. I'm not speaking. Like, I'm talking about the community that I'm
When
in.
you say women in general, that's very broad.
Yeah, because
like,
you can't.
Okay, because I
different.
feel like it's really simple and we're going round and round, right? Because in my
All women are not
opinion,
the same in that way.
okay, whatever. I feel there's certain principles that are ingrained in each of us. So like I feel like men, what do men want the most? Men want respect. That's the simple answer. That's how I would simplify it just to that.
You can't tell us what we want. You're a woman. You don't have balls.
Gas them up. Wait.
You guys,
listen.
calm down. For crying out loud,
Stop
you're
saying
speaking
you
too
guys,
defensive.
Hey, we're supposed to
coming at you
listen.
like
We're
that.
supposed to be answering the question. I'm just gonna say this. First of all, gas them up at your last statement. Women hate me on this channel because I keep it real. I always talk about a man's perspective. Dinus can attest to that. I have women on this channel.
They hate Brandon. I'm like, Brandon is a black man married to a black woman. How can you hate that guy?
That don't mean nothing.
Dude,
Cynthia,
bro, you have
listen,
no idea.
Cynthia G made a video about me, bro.
I learned that with Ice Cube.
Look, Cynthia G made a video about me, about my wife. She's a pick me and all this stuff.
Congratulations.
I was kind of honored. I was kind of honored, right? Because my wife told her ass straight up. You know what I'm saying? But the point I'm making is, what do women want? What women want always changes because women don't really know what they want.
No, we do.
Wait a minute. Women, what you guys want changes as they get older, as they learn more. That's why no one can figure out what women want, because what men want changes. When I was 21, I just want to play football. When I was 28, I just want to eat chicken wings and watch football. When I was 34, I wanted something different. Now that I'm 36, I want something different. No one stays, what someone wants never stays the same. But the power that a man has over a woman is that he can convince her to desire what he wants her to desire. That's the trick. I only know that because I come from a long line of pimps, okay? All my uncles is pimps. They tell a woman what she wants. They basically program that woman to desire the things that they tell her to desire. Any man can do that with any woman if he knows how to do it properly.
Right? Without proper training, how's he going to do that, Brandon?
Because
so set up a course, and charge men to do that.
He needs to stop listening to you and start listening to me. No, I'm just joking.
I'm sure, and the women will love him. They'll love him.
The simple answer for you is that women want to be loved. That's it. That's all.
Not, that's not true.
That's not true. And here's the thing: you can be loved. This is why. And by the way,
I'm telling you, if you see women wearing makeup, if you see women doing all these extra things, it really just boils down to women want to be loved.
Mika, what does love mean according to you? Hold on, let's ask her. Mika, what is your definition of love?
Love. I would consider a guy if I would feel like a guy loves me if he's patient, if he's kind, if he's those type of principles. Like
So what you're talking about,
Mika, I think every man on this panel has done these things.
My interest first, like if he puts my interest first.
What you're talking about is, Mika, is love languages, and different people have different women have different love languages.
Yes,
I'm not even gonna say that. I'm not even gonna say that and disrespect Dynasty.
But ultimately, it's pointing out to women being loved. Whether a woman wants to receive gifts, whether she wants to be embraced, whether she wants you to appreciate how beautiful she is, it comes down to her feeling loved.
Women do not, guys, let me say this. Women do not want to be loved because the man that loves a woman the most is sitting in her inbox on red and she don't even read his messages. Women want attention and direction. What women ultimately want is to be taught. Women
Women
fall
want
in
to
love.
be loved,
Listen,
Brandon.
listen,
Brandon, if
listen.
I get a
Wait, wait.
Brandon, if I get a, let me just real quick. Let me interject,
No, go
Brandon.
ahead,
So
go ahead.
Mika, what did Will Smith? What is he doing wrong? Because he loves his woman.
Love too much.
Um,
Love.
yeah. Well, I think what
Uh,
Will Smith is not doing, one, he's not taking he's not taking the lead in his relationship, and he loves his wife, but his wife doesn't love him as well. She doesn't love him back.
so do they
So
want love or do
I
they want
thought as
Yeah,
him to
long as
take
you
the
love,
lead?
I thought that's what women want. I thought
but
they
you
just
said
want to
that's
be
not.
loved.
yeah, she wants to be loved, but she wants to be loved by Tupac, not Will Smith.
No.
See,
Dinus, let me
see.
answer that. Let me answer that, Dinus.
Proof as to why
Jada,
you shouldn't
Hold
care
on,
what women think.
listen. It reinforces what I just said. Jada wants attention. She's jealous because Will Smith's career has totally eclipsed hers. She didn't start acting so that she could be relegated to B movies and not get any jobs. When she saw Will win that Oscar, when she knew Will was going to win that Oscar, that activated a certain type of hatred in her, and she's always been jealous. When Will talked about he planned her 40th birthday for 3 years, had all this stuff, Mary J came and performed all this stuff, and Jada said, oh, that was just a big old testament to your ego. She tried to tear down everything he did for her out of love, because what she wanted more than anything, she wanted to be the center of attention. She didn't want him to make her the center of attention. She wanted to make herself the center of attention, but she couldn't do it because she didn't have the talent and ability, right? In
No,
nature.
Brandon.
No, this is true. Wait a minute. This is
She
true.
doesn't respect Will. That's all. She just doesn't
Listen,
respect him.
listen. It don't got nothing to do with Tupac. That's just what she's saying, because
But
that's the
She doesn't
romance.
respect Will, and
Listen,
Brandon, but
Will
hold on,
never
but
earned
Mika,
her
real
respect.
quick
but
question.
why not if he loved her?
Exactly. Oh, yeah, because hold on, and I'm glad we went here. Will Smith, you cannot say nothing about Will Smith as far as achievement, as far as the dude is a 6'3". You can't. He's got all that covered, right?
But what are
Then
you guys
hold on.
defining as Will Smith
No.
loving her, though?
Then Will Smith committed to Jada despite like her like line. Because honestly, if you look at her mother, her grandmother, they got problems. He went past that level. So my point is, if the question is, so you're saying it's not Jada's problem because Will has fulfilled every aspect of manhood that he should
No, he
feel in
hasn't.
accordance to her.
He
He
loves
hasn't even,
her.
Okay,
not
no.
even once.
So what is he missing? What is he missing, Mika? Because that's
Look,
what I want
Edward,
to
let
know.
me ask you something, right? I'm going to ask you a question. If I have a husband and my husband allows me to wear what I want, like I can walk out the door in booty shorts and everything, does that man love me?
If you gonna be the type of chick, he ain't gonna waste his time. Let a woman
No,
be a woman.
But see,
look,
and
I don't
this.
want an emotional response. I'm asking you a hypothetical
You see,
question.
that's
If
not
I married to
emotional,
a
Mika.
man,
But
What you're doing, you
no,
see, I know
listen,
how to speak. This is
okay, you guys
Mika.
just
What you
don't
like
want to
to do is
listen sometimes.
you're used
If a
to
man now
telling
dates,
men. Mika,
uh,
what you're used to doing is you're used to setting the standard, and it's very, very
no, I'm not
great,
setting
right?
the
A lot of
standard.
men, no, a lot of men
he
probably don't
was
pick up
asking
on
me
it.
a
So,
question.
what you're doing is you're saying if the woman wears booty shorts, and does he really love her? At the end of the day, these are all games. If you sit
Well,
down there thinking that, oh, well, if I prove my love and I walk through the valley of the shadow
No,
of death and climb the highest mountain, you're wasting your time.
but
no,
Kat,
you
Enjoy
guys
your
are saying
life,
that Will
fellas,
Smith was
because women
masculine.
like Mika
I'm
are
saying that
also
he's going to take the
manipulating.
lead in
because
his family.
she was asking me a question. So let's
Yeah.
say he says no, you can't do that, and then she says she's gonna. Let's say they're married now, because that's what the other dudes are talking about. If you're married, you need to stay in that marriage. So in
Mm-hmm.
fact, I'll tell you one. I'll do you one better. Let's say his daughter wanted to do that and wear booty shorts and she's 16 years old and he puts his foot down and say no, you will not do that, and then and she does it anyway because the woman basically overrided him in that household, or basically said she can do
Yeah,
what
they
she
should
want
I
to do.
respect him.
So what is he supposed to do then? Wait,
Okay. So,
hold on. I'm asking Mika. I get you may have an answer
all
ready.
right. So, look, if that woman doesn't respect him, clearly she's not submitting to him, then look, he can replace her. He can get another wife, new wife, whatever. They do that in Africa
So
all the
he should
time. So that's what I'm
okay.
saying.
So he should
If I'm
divorce
stepping out
her.
the house in booty shorts and my husband goes like, you can't wear that, then for me, I'll feel like, oh, he's protecting me, like he loves me, like Yeah.
So
You see.
Mika,
So I
we
feel like
hold
Will
on,
hasn't done
Let
that
him
in
Hold on,
family.
finish.
Like,
let
he
me
hasn't
interject real quick.
provided that protection.
Mika,
Let me interject real quick. Mika, the issue with your response, you have a lot of women out there that will say that just because your man, the man wants you to cover up, they will say that's toxic,
and
that's
controlling.
abusive, you know, women's rights. A woman can wear what she want to
Nah, come
wear.
on.
No, and I
Nah,
agree.
you
And
mean,
Mika,
come on, that's
but
yes.
hold on, I agree with Mika with this because if you're a man and you do what you're supposed to do and hit to that level, like what Brandon, is saying, then if a woman does not fulfill her part,
Yeah,
she can be replaced. The problem is legally, if you're married, that's problematic in America. There's going to be a
Yeah.
penalty to pay for that. But let's say it was before marriage, because I could argue, and I argue this, like Devon Franklin. That shit is his fault because
exactly.
this is what
I
I say.
agree.
This is what I say with women.
100%.
With women, if women communicate who they are, Jada communicated her affinity with Tupac, and you sit there and you
Exactly.
play the "I can change them" game. That's on you for playing that game. If you lose, you have to start accepting women for who they present themselves to be and act accordingly and pick the women match. We kind of agree with that. The
And that's
problem,
fair.
but Mika, here's the issue though. This is where the "he abandoned me" bullshit comes in. Now he abandoned me. Like for instance, Bandman Quavo. I know this is not the greatest example, but you got a dude that was in jail that this chick was down for him, so he married her, is giving her thousands upon thousands of dollars, had a kid with her, said that he doesn't want to be around her no more because she don't cook and clean and do nothing. He said, I will buy you a house. Go pick the house and I'll buy it for you to live in with my kid. Even though I'm not gonna be with you like that, and I need my own space. She talking about he left her homeless, even though he paying thousands of dollars for the hotel that she's in. And the only reason she's in a hotel is because she refuses to pick a house because low key she wants to live with him. My point is, this is where a lot of that abandonment crap comes from.
But
You
he's
know,
trash. He's
So
trash.
Edward,
He's
at
trash
the end
for
of the
that.
day, what's the end result, Edward? What's the end result or advice you give for black men? Because a lot of times it's like y'all getting these red pill circles, y'all going around and round and round,
no,
and it's
I
still
have
kind of
very
so.
simple. I have very simple advice. You need to put yourself in position to where you can deal with a pool for women that you want. So if it's African American women, it's that, but you need to expand those numbers because the greatest power a man has in the Western society is his power of choice. This is why a lot of black men deal with the most dick policing. This is why everything is designed to tell black men what not to date. If you want to date a melanated woman, because I'm not here to tell you going overseas and getting an African woman is going to solve the problem. There is no one size fits all solution. You need to deal with yourself, but set the standards, enforce those standards by actually choosing the women that actually apply with those standards. And if men do that more, then the women would actually have no choice but to capitulate. The problem is men do too much negotiating with these women. And there is something to be said about homosexuality, which is what Brandon's kind of talking about. Because if you choose to live up under a woman, that's a choice you're making. And you choose that every day you're in it. But then again, you got women that talk about men ain't doing nothing, but at the same time, they accept that because the dude looks good or he has charisma. So if the women is sitting here saying, I want a dude that makes money, which is why Kevin talks about that, but you have a track record of prioritizing charisma, well, that's on you. Eventually, you're going to need to not prioritize charisma because a dude that makes money has charisma, those are rare dudes. There's not a lot of dudes like that. So yeah, at the end of the day, expand your pool and then put yourself in position to where you can execute that. That's really the simple answer. And then the details come along with, what do you need to work on? And it is that. And the truth is, with Will, everybody is not equally yoked. The truth is, Will, this is the problem with Will Smith. Will Smith likes street pussy. Will Smith is not compatible with a chick from Baltimore. And he knew that. And he had that problem with Pepper when he liked Pepper. So he went into that relationship. He had weirdo kids because he chose that. What Will should have did was get him a black woman or a African woman or even a non-black woman that's more equally yoked. That's what he should have did. He chose that, and that's why he's got to accept accountability for what Jada's doing because he refuses to check that. The truth is, Will won't leave Jada, but that's the simple answer. The simple
So
answer
so so
is
so
get
Wait,
Tendaji, what?
hey,
Yeah, I was gonna
let
say Tendaji. Yeah,
talk. Yeah.
Tendaji, go
Yeah,
ahead.
peace,
Tendaji, go ahead.
peace, family. Yeah, shout out to you, Dynast. See, man, everything Brandon's saying on this bitch on point. You hear me?
I
Gas them
agree
up,
as well.
bro.
Yeah, I
You
agree.
try to what you did, bro, a few minutes ago, gas them up. You made it seem like it was either simp, manipulated man, a red pill. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if you noticed you did that, but a man saying as men, we gotta hold ourselves more accountable. That's not just saying, oh, you just that might be to some women, oh, he's saying what I want to hear, but the reason a man saying that is not because I just want to see what a woman want to hear. We might actually feel like that shit true. You know what I'm saying? Like men, we gotta hold ourselves more accountable. What Mika came in saying about how a lot of these niggas is victims. A lot of these niggas is victims, and they want to be perpetual victims, just like the feminist shit she talked about. You know what I'm saying? Like when you talk to these dudes, and the first thing they start talking about is the welfare. My ultimate point is, and to answer the question, is marriage, black men marrying black women, can that save the black community? I think it was. My answer is like, it can't be saved without it. You know what I'm saying? That's not the only ingredient, but it can't be saved without it if we're gonna keep having children. You feel me? But my ultimate point is, when you talk to these dudes and they start talking about welfare, at the end of the day, either we was leaders and we became leaders, the next day we wasn't leaders anymore. We let that happen if we was leaders. That's so simple. It don't get no more simple than that. For you niggas talking about, oh, y'all started doing the welfare and the white man, this ain't none of that shit got to do with nothing. Gas them up. You didn't answer the question Brandon asked you about your relationship. The white man ain't got.
That has nothing to do with Brandon or anybody in this panel.
I'm gonna be like another minute, not even a minute, like 30 seconds. That shit got very little to do with, you hear me, us and our situation. At the end of the fucking day, black men dropped the ball at some point. I don't care what decade you want to talk about. At some point, we dropped the ball and allowed for whoever to come in and cause that division. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
I hear that. I hear these arguments all the time. They're great arguments, but I think again, it's this narrative that when black men do everything that they're supposed to do, the women will come. And if that's what Brandon and you believe, by all means, look, man, I hope y'all work 80 hours a week. I hope y'all don't get high blood pressure. I hope your cholesterol is fine. I'm going to enjoy my life and not care what somebody else thinks, man. I'm going to make my money and travel the world. So go ahead, eat the big piece of chicken. Listen, I'm not mad at you, gentlemen. Eat the big piece of chicken, get that high blood pressure, and when she, and leave that life insurance money for him. Because
I like you because you're funny. You hear me? Tell me what I said that made you say that. Where you get what the fuck you just said?
You just said that we allegedly let the ball fall, right?
Yeah.
We let it happen.
We gotta start
so
whatever black women say. What I said. What I said that.
You said that we dropped the ball. That's what you said, yes?
And it's on us to pick that bitch up. I ain't saying we need to do whatever black women say so they can. No, I ain't saying none of that. You know what I'm saying? I ain't saying none of that.
You just take responsibility for your part. Because gas them up. If you keep following Kevin Samuels, you end up like Obum Selly.
I never followed Kevin Samuels, Mika. Why are you projecting? You do a great job, Mika.
Can I ask a question? Hold on. Let me ask a question real quick. Mika, what do you disagree with about Kevin Samuels? What does he say that's wrong?
I already answered that.
Brand already. Look,
no,
what I'm
ask
saying
Mika,
is,
not Brandon. Don't lean on what Brandon said.
What did you say that's wrong?
Hey man, she's trying to follow. Hey, wait, she's trying to follow a man's lead like a woman supposed to do. Y'all,
no, that's
bro.
no.
Okay, what I'm saying is that okay, let me just make this simple.
What do you disagree with about Kevin Samuels?
Let me make this simple, right? I feel like Kevin Samuels is offering very superficial solutions, and he's appealing to a certain type of black male. And that's a black male who lives in a victim complex.
Okay,
so
Mika,
if you become this high value man, you can get all these, white females and so on, and just succeed in life. But that's really not true.
Mika, one mic. This is the problem. The majority of people that come to a show are women.
And also, Kevin says that if you don't work 60 hours, to Gas's 80-hour comment, Kevin says if you're under like 40, 45, and you don't work 60 hours a week, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, and he's retarded. This is why when Mika says I'm following Kevin Samuels, I'm laughing at her because again, if you really want to know what I follow, the Pan-Africanist Chinwezu wrote the book, The Anatomy. Hold on, let me say this and I'm done. The Pan-Africanist Chinwezu wrote the book, The Anatomy of Female Power. If you want the book, email me, gasthemup@gmail.com. I'll send it to you. I don't follow
All right,
Kevin
gas them
Samuels.
up.
I don't follow the red pill. All I'm saying
Hold on.
is that look at what Edward just said. He's saying that Kevin says, and a lot of men have this approach, that if you don't work 80 hours a week, and if you're not sitting down there doing all this stuff to take it, man, it's all a
Well, he
game.
says that because you need to get your money up, and if you don't have high income skills,
For you,
like,
get your money up for you, not for her.
Well, yeah.
But no, Edward, don't say that, because most of those dudes on the red pill, what they're doing is they're making money to advertise to women and say, look at me, I have money, I'm high value, come and be submissive to me. That's what they're doing.
Dynast will tell you most of us ain't making no most of us ain't making no goddamn money outside of a handful of people. Let's cut the bullshit.
Woman will submit to a homeless dude. I've seen it. I've seen a homeless dude.
Yeah, Brandon just had the picture where he went homeless. The video, he went undercover as homeless, and these chicks was checking out for him, man.
That's cool.
So at the end of the day, yeah, Brandon, tell him about that the video.
A homeless dude could be pushing a cart full of cans. I saw it pushing it down PCH. His girlfriend was on a bike riding behind him. They didn't know where the hell. She said, where are we going? He said, man, shut the hell up. I'm pissed off right now. I was like, damn. She just shut up and she just kept on rolling. He didn't tell her nothing. Women want a man who gonna lead them somewhere. Well, the red pill dudes are totally fine, but what they're doing is, it's like they won't admit that they want what they want.
Do you realize you're changing up your argument depending on who you're talking about? For example, like, let's say I agree with you that women want charisma and all those things. Do those very women, let's say I agree with that, do those women have a right to call into a show talking about that men abandon them once they 35 and 40 when their track record, like, for that individual woman, indicates that the dudes that they're dealing with, those were the qualities that they have. Then when they get north of 35, now they're talking about they want somebody to clean that up after the fact. Because if I agree with you that charisma is a leading currency, which nobody in the red pill community would disagree with that, then it becomes, because here's my thing, women, I look at qualities like a pie chart. If you say charisma is 75% of it, then that only leads 25 for certain things. Things are not infinite. So the reality is you are prioritized. It's like if you flip it with dudes. If you say you want an uncooperative female, but she gotta look good and be a baddie, let me tell you something. Once you tell me you gotta do that, you're basically dating strippers, and this is what people try to hit with Cam. They're like, so you dated strippers, even though he had a kid with her. It ain't like he was professionally dating.
What's wrong with dating a stripper? That's just an occupation.
Well, my point is, you're saying you want value.
Come on, we're all dating a stripper. Come on, bro.
You want value, but you want value.
Edward,
you want that. Well, you want
value.
Edward,
can I ask you a question?
Well, again, we got away from this. No, Mika. What is the talking point you have that you disagree with Kevin?
Edward, why are you doing this? You're still falling for it. Who cares what Mika thinks? Jesus Christ, be masculine. Why do we care what this woman thinks? No disrespect to her.
Panel, asshole. Because she's
no. She cannot determine. Listen, I'm not saying that we don't care what she thinks. I'm saying, you're reverting. Right to say anything. No, I'm saying, let me ask you this question, Edward. Would Shaka Zulu, as he's building the Zulu Empire, care that some chick who's 35 missed the marriage boat, or that Mika is saying, well, a good man would not talk, and Shaka Zulu's got too much time trying to build the Zulu Empire. Can we be like Shaka Zulu again? Can we make our villages great again? Stop worrying about what they think.
Empire, though. Like, he used to consult from his mother, gas them up. Don't.
Yes, my mother. You ain't my mama. My mama carried me for 9 months. Man. You ain't her. But until men, hold on, Edward, and this is what I want all the men in the panel to listen to. The problem is, a lot of y'all, what y'all do is y'all do this thing, right? It's like the Madonna horror complex. There's a whole lot of things. When we get our mothers, we transfer. Hold on, Edward. Let me finish. Hold on, Edward. No, forget the question with her. What we do is this: we take the love and the affections we have for our mother, and we transfer it to this woman. Not understanding that pound for pound, no woman is going to love you like your mother, because you know why? She didn't give birth to you. So you heard what she just said. Shaka consulted with his mother. So what black men should be doing is consult our mothers, take all that money we spend it on strippers, spend it on your mama. Take that. Hold on, sister. Take that. I'm not devaluing any woman. I'm saying take that money we spend on strippers, take that money we spend in the club, take that money we spend abusing each other, killing each other. Let's spend it on our mothers. Let our mothers be looking good. let our sisters, let our aunts take care of the women in our family. Now, if a woman that you meet happens to be submissive and work with you, great. If not, keep building and let's make the village great again. Let's build empires. That's what we should be focused on. We shouldn't care that some chick is in the chat room saying, I want a good man, and this man, forget what she think. Because like Brandon said, she don't know what she want.
Dude, the purpose, that's not even the purpose of the
Yeah,
question.
hold on one second, but gas them up. Thank you for your input, but I really want to know, Mika, what exactly do you disagree with Kevin Samuel? Can you please be specific? Just be specific, not he does it for the crowd and men. What exactly did Kevin Samuel say that you disagree with, Mika? Go ahead.
Just use my talking points.
I think no, I think we keep going over the same thing. I just told you that I feel like the ideology he represents parallels the same thing that feminism represents. So it's just like an extreme response to a problem, but it's not really a solution. I'm not saying that everything he says is
I need
out
to
of the
know
park,
exactly what
but I've
did
seen him
Kevin
make
Samuel say.
really
What did he say that you disagree with?
What? I've watched so many of his streams. Like I've seen how he speaks to the women that he's chosen to
I
destroy.
need no specifics. Like what specifically did he say that you disagree with, Mika? Brandon, don't you chime in, bro. I want to hear from Mika. What did he say?
It's a lot of things. I think a lot of it is the presentation he makes about how
oh God, Mika,
high
come
value
on.
men.
You're very intelligent, Mika. What exactly does
Oh my
he
God,
say that
Dinah,
you disagree with?
you're trolling me now. I've said it so many times. Like it's this idea that high value men, that for a man to be for a man to get a good woman or for marriage to work, a man should be quote unquote high value. And then he presents this sort of prototype of what a woman should be, which is I think is very superficial. I think it's got nothing to do with marriage or any building marriage. Even if you get a stripper, a whole, I don't think that will build a marriage. So I disagree with that worldview that the more you earn, the more value I guess you have as a man or something like that.
Mika, what are the principles? What do men need to do in your country to get a wife? What are the main principles?
Buy some cows.
Well, that's economic. That's economic.
That's all you need is some cows.
So we can translate the value for that. I'm asking you this because you're saying, because there's actual tangible things when it comes to what a quote unquote. And by the way, the only reason why Kevin says that is because that's what the women say they want.
Mika, what's your bride price?
Women want to be loved. I already told you that. It's very
Mika, what's your
women want to be loved.
So if women wanted to be loved, then more women would be married in the United States.
Well, I can't speak for the US, but more women are married in Zambia.
This is the one thing that the red pill didn't even know until Kevin did what he did, and Dynas can attest to this. I don't believe that women just lie on the thing. I assume that at least I'm gonna take what they say at face value. If the woman is telling me that they got marriage proposals, what that tells me is they were in relationships with these dudes. So if you got marriage proposals that you said no to, this is what multiple women have said, and multiple women say that they have kids and long-term relationships with dudes and don't require marriage, but when a dude wants to marry them, they get problematic with it. We have verifiable evidence of women choosing to call in and saying this over and over again. So
those women are dysfunctional, I think.
Well, if it's really you got femininity coaches, black women that have lived a black experience. We got like 4 now that have said similar things. And trust me, they're not team black men 100%. So it's not just Kevin. We have a whole...
So you're saying that there's women that doesn't want to get married, but just wants to cohabit. Is that what you're saying?
You got...
I got to interject. Mika, you know how many offers I've gotten from women? Hey, Dynas, I'd like to have a baby with you, but I don't want you involved. No, you won't have any rights, but I control everything.
Yeah, no.
I'd like to have a baby with you.
You know why Mika doesn't understand that? Because Zambia doesn't have a strong welfare state.
Do you know what the concept
hold on, Edward. Mika, does Zambia have a strong welfare state? Because the minute you have a strong welfare state where women can get a check every month, I guarantee you that's going to attack some of those societal relations, that community relations that Zambians have.
I don't doubt that if you introduce the welfare system like that, people will begin to exploit it. That's why we don't need to have those kind of systems.
Hold on, Brandon. This is why I bring up the concept of genetic currency. Because if you're a dude and you're not accomplished, and that is a real currency, and dudes just got to deal with that shit. They just got to deal with it. If you have the genetic currency, that can override other currencies. If you got women that I'm not saying this is all black women. The women that are not like this are generally able to balance out what they want and find a dude. even in the black community, let's be very clear here. Women that are 5s can find a dude that's actually got a job and get married if they really want to.
Edward, what is genetic currency? Because I'm not understanding that concept.
Genetic currency are when women look for, the things that women look for. So like height, strength, masculinity. It's basically things that you're born with. I mean,
basically what me and Dynas got and all y'all lack.
Whatever.
Yeah, that's great, Brandon. That's great.
Well, dude, like I'm saying this for a reason.
Genetic currency.
I'm saying
women
this.
Look for character.
No, they don't. Get the hell
yes,
out of
here.
You see,
a woman dated Ike Turner. Wait a minute. A woman dated Ike Turner. Her name is Tina Turner. Women will get with any dude, no matter how angry. No, stop. Women will date any man, no matter how angry, man, listen. Women date dudes who are murderers, killers, all that. That's my community.
Well, Brandon,
they don't care.
Mika just said a while ago that she agreed with the majority of things that Brandon said. Brandon said that the number one currency amongst African American women as a group is charisma. That shit will drive a lot of niggas. I'd say genetic currency can kind of compete with that too, but charisma. This is why black men believe in games so much. So in our community. So my thing is, do you not agree with that, or do you not know? Because you can't speak for African American women.
Look, I can't speak for African American women, but I do feel like women in general just want to be loved, and
so charisma is not a positive. And see, that's another thing too. I'm not saying that charisma. I'm in sales, so charisma matters. But
Edward, she keep relegating it to obscurity by saying the love thing. She knows that that's not what women want. There are men who love women to death, and women will dog them out for a dude who don't give a shit about them.
You guys are being subjective. By love, I mean we want to be protected, we want to be provided for, we want to be treated well. That's what I mean. Those principles.
Let me ask you this question, Dynas. Why you think because I get a lot of those requests too, but not women saying they don't want me involved, but I get a lot of does your wife mind you having another wife? Yeah, I get a lot of does your wife mind you having other wives, other women? I get some women who are like, yo, you're a man. I can show you in my phone right now. Like, I got a girl talking about, oh my God, you're a real man. I'll do anything to be with you. It's bad. But the thing is this, Dynas, why you think the women hitting you up talking about they want to have a baby with you, but they looking at your genetics for one, right?
Women don't frame it that way. They frame it in like height, masculinity, but that's essentially what it is. Some
women will tell you straight up, like, you got a strong jawline. One girl was like, oh my God, I want to have a baby by you because you have big shoulders and I want a son who's athletic. I mean, if you go to like Orange County, those white women will tell you straight drop why they want to have a baby with you. Certain physical attributes and stuff like that.
Oh yeah. Some of them generally women are not going to be that forward with it, but you're right. There are women that
crazy.
So, and this is what we're telling. And here's another thing too. That's why I said currency, because even though women may not be as forward with that, that is a very driving factor, because in the African American community, looks trumps character. Period. That is not a debatable statement. The only thing
even for women,
the only thing that can compete with looks is really game. And so when we talk
for
about
men or for women,
so I would say what
even women look at looks first.
Women got game too. Boy.
Yeah, but so now you're trying to flip it on a man, because the reason why I'm saying this is because women, the difference is men can dismiss a lot of men's complaints as you're complaining, you're weak, you're this, but women get to have their isms, colorism, featureism, what is it? Fat.
Not as much as men though.
No, okay, so what ism?
We're not as physically driven as you guys.
So in the black community and African American community, women are more, and I'll prove it to you. Black men have the lowest standards as a group. And we got exceptions, we know this. But as a group of any men in the United States of America, black women have the highest standards of any woman in the United States of America, regulated to black men. Now, when they jump out the black community, that changes, to be fair. But in the black community, that is true. In the African American community. And I'm not saying that women are bad for it. I'm not saying women are bad for any of these things. But what I'm saying is everything is trade-offs. So if you want a dude that is the dudes that make a lot of money, that's got the genetic currency, they got all the currencies, you're gonna have to share them like 1 to like 50. That's the reality of the situation. And
that's where I come in.
And Brandon, and here's the thing, Brandon, if we were in a situation, if we were in a situation where women were saying that I'm cool with sharing like a Brandon or a Dynas or whoever.
Hell no.
They are cool. They are cool with sharing.
No. I'm talking about as a group, because black women do
No way.
Black women do a lot of man sharing. That happens. And they were cool with it. And
Yeah,
then
even black men.
and then you got dudes complaining about that. Then yeah, they gotta eat that or get their shit together in order to compete with that. That's the game. But you don't have that. What you have is you have women.
Edward, why do people need to get into this game of competition?
It's not competition.
Hold on, Edward. Wait, Edward. Because here's the thing. Even Brandon does it. He doesn't even realize it.
Boy, I love my trolls.
I'm not worried about Brandon, but for me, Brandon does it all the time. Like, black men have got this thing about us where we do these put downs, right? And we hide it behind jokes. We have this unnecessary competition. We have this unnecessary competition, and it really boils down to the manipulated mind of the black man. Because
getting women is a competition.
So go ahead.
I want to get more.
Keep them. Listen,
bro. Listen. Some men are built for this shit. Some men are not.
Great.
Clearly, I'm built for it.
Okay, good.
So what you're trying
to do?
Wait,
okay,
stop. Wait,
good.
Wait a minute.
I didn't interrupt you. I'm saying good.
You're trying to do 48 laws of power.
I'm not.
Wait, you struggle to attain something. So what you're trying to do is devalue it.
Devalue it. I know. So dismissal by proxy.
There's very much value in it. If you can't get it, that's on you. But
Brandon, you see what you're doing again. This is. Of course she'll agree because she loves because you're saying you're parroting what she says.
Go ahead. Please finish my statement. Now this is the same thing that many men in the red pill community do. They devalue pussy and sex, right? I went at a Poor Man's Podcast one time. He made a video talking about a woman who only brings sex to the table. I said, look, if the woman took sex off the table, you wouldn't even want her. So when you say that all she has to bring is sex, dude, primarily from a woman, that's all you really want.
Yeah, but the point of that is sex and problems. It's
again, but
bringing sex.
Look, you see, hold on, Edward, because I want to respond. Because again, this is what Brandon likes to do, right? Brandon likes to make these gross generalizations. He has no.
Very right.
Of course, that's great. Who cares?
So
that's
my
beautiful.
Point is, by your metric, that's what you said. These red pill guys, and Poor Man is married. So I mean, my point is,
so he was talking about the side of his ass.
Not really.
About the side of his ass.
Okay, but Edward, I want to respond to that.
If your wife stop having sex with you, are you going to stay married with her? No.
So no man would.
No man. Sex is very valuable.
Brandon, I'm not in that boat.
Black American women should just take sex off the table. Then you
good. Thank you, Mika. Thank you. Exactly. Start in Zambia first. Mika, do it in Zambia first, Mika, and let's see how long. Let's see how long you last in Zambia. Do it in Zambia first, Mika.
Our culture does that.
Hold on, no, you don't. Shut up.
Okay, but Edward, hold on, because Brandon likes to do this, right? And like I said, this is a problem of the black male community. It is this unnecessary nonsense, and that's why black men can't pull their capital together. That's why black men don't have anything to show for it in terms of all the access to the technology and all the access to the things that we can do now in this global environment, because we are caught up. Hold on, Edward, let me finish, please. Because we are caught up in this unnecessary competition. Brandon don't know if I have 2 wives in Nigeria. He don't know that. So that's Brandon. You know, he can say, oh, you not. Listen, my whole point and my whole premise to black men is simple. Whether you want to get 10 wives, whether you want to get 1 wife, treat women good. I'm not saying abuse women. I'm not saying any of that. You still got to deal with them at the end of the day. What I am saying is, let's focus on the bigger picture. What is the bigger picture? Tendaji said we dropped the ball, right? Cool. So how do we pick the ball back up? We got to pick the ball back up by doing what? Building businesses, by creating capital, by being honest with each other, not these put downs. Because here's what Brandon doesn't understand. If I bring you in a room full of other black men and you do this alpha shuffle to try to put dudes down, you've turned off half the group. Now they don't want to do business with you because you up in this nonsense.
I guess.
But go ahead, Edward. I yield the floor.
No, Edward, let me
Hold on.
respond.
2 seconds. I call that Highlander syndrome.
Edward, let me respond. Dynast. Here's the thing that gassed him up. This is what you don't get. Brandon, see what he does? He don't know if I got 2 wives in Nigeria, but what if you still had your first wife plus those 2 wives? Now your ability to do things is multiplied exponentially. That's what back in the day, African men, the men of Asoko, before you were born, they saw the value in those multiple women.
Yeah, Brad,
this is Cap City, man.
Wait a minute. Wait, I'm not capping. You could put 3 women to work.
Right.
You could put 3 women to work, bro. I'm a true African. I don't care what you guys say. I'm more African than some dudes born in Africa. I'm gonna tell you that right now. The men saw the value in those women and what they could do for him economically. You got 3 wives, that's 3 incomes. You got 1 woman pulling an American salary and 2 women pulling an Isoko salary, taking care of that over there.
You're trying to remix pimp mentality. They can't pick up on that, but I can.
Edward, this is what African men used to do.
It may be. But
listen,
you're not more African than Africans. You're filtering it through pimp mentality.
No, he's not, Edward. No, actually, he's quite right. But what Brandon is doing is he's doing this dismissal by proxy stuff, right? So again, Brandon has no idea what women I'm dealing with here in the U.S. He don't know what women I'm dealing with in Nigeria, and that's nobody's concern. So at the end of the day, when it comes to macking, I'm down with the biggest of the max. I'm cold just like the coldest of the coldest, Max. But at the end of the day, nobody don't got to know that. That ain't for anybody to know. What we need to do is, again, let's focus on building black men, building strong black men who can trust each other, who not going to assault each other's egos. So that way I can call up Brother Tendaji and say, listen, man, I think he has a trucking company. I'm assuming Brother Tendaji. I can say, listen, man, we got some groceries down there in Atlanta that Dynast got. We got a grocery store up here in the East Coast. Let's start shipping these things. That's what we need to focus on. Now, when we do that, right, then whatever you're dealing with the women, you're dealing with the women. You can't fix it. You can't change them. You can't live without them. Can't live with them. You know what I'm saying? So you got to deal with them however you deal with them. So that's what I'm not understanding about.
We're about to close out, but we're gonna close out. But gas them up. What's the simple salary? Like $100 a month?
I'm not even paying attention to Brandon, man. Like he's talking crazy, man. You know what I'm saying? It's more than the Kenyan salary. I'll tell you that, Brandon. Dynast. It's more than the salary in Kenya. It's more than the Kenyan shilling. It's more than the Kenyan shilling.
$30,000 a month. But hey, $30,000 a month. Yeah. All right. So everyone,
But yeah, Edward, that's what I'm trying to find out. What's the end game, Edward? What's the end game? Is it to just keep coming at women and saying red pill, red pill?
I just told you
what's the solution
was. I've been said that already. So y'all gonna just keep asking me that?
Yeah, what's the solution?
Because it wasn't convincing. The end game that you described wasn't convincing.
That's not when you say end game. Are you talking about end game for the black community? Or are you talking about?
I'm saying for black men. For black men in relation to the topic of marriage.
Swirling.
Whatever. Go ahead and answer. Edward, go ahead and answer. Listen, hold on 1 second. Edward, answer. No one interject because after that we're closing out. Edward, go ahead.
The greatest power you have is your power of choice. And every woman, despite what anybody says, it doesn't matter how much you self-prove. This idea that you can take a stripper and transfer her into a housewife is idiotic. So you amplify yourself, and then you basically find folks that are equally yoked. So if you can't find it in the African-American community, then you look towards other cultures if you want to keep it melanated. And if you're cool with doing an interracial, well, that's what SYSBM is for. But SYSBM is not the same as the black manosphere. And that's what Mad Bus Driver, the leader, SYSBM, has stated. The majority of the black men in the black manosphere date black women. And a lot of them, us, are married. So if anybody would like me to put together a panel of black men that are married in our space, so you all can take all that stuff to them where they've been married 30 years, 20 years, I'll go and make it happen. But like I said, That's the solution. And that's the solution. And you got into what you have dudes, and this is what Gas was saying. You have dudes that are in perpetual negotiation mode with women. And they say, well, let me put myself in a vulnerable position, and then I'm going to turn around and just alpha my way through it. And that's what Will Smith got in this pickle. That's what Devon Franklin got in this pickle. Megan Good said that she was a free spirit. She said up front she did not want a kid. He said, I'm going to use the power of Christ to basically watch this chick, and he wasted 10 years of his life. That's not Megan's fault.
In Jesus' name.
And that is what I say. You need to start accepting women for what they say and then basically act accordingly.
Edwin, put your email in the back chat, man, when you get a chance. Put your email before Dynas close it out.
No, I mean,
so everyone, listen, go ahead and put your email. Everyone, thank you so much for joining. You know, make sure you like, share, subscribe. Listen, we're rolling to Sierra Leone in 4 days. If you want to roll, let me know. And we're going to Nigeria in August 11th through the 20th for the Osun Festival, Osun Oshogbo Festival. So if you want to roll with us to Nigeria, go to Danfo, DANFO.Africa. Again, Danfo.Africa. Till next time, family, thank you so much for joining. Really appreciate everybody on the panel. Peace.
Did we get the goat foreskin in the one?